on. I'll go ahead and queue up live on TikTok. We'll start in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Some might not agree, but the handsome liberal. We're going to be talking about one case that's in the news. You can probably see it on the monitor behind me. One case that's in the news as of late, and I want to make a comparison to a case we're probably familiar with that took place some 4 years ago. As you see on the monitor behind me, we have, I believe that's Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny on the left side of the monitor there. And I'm going to make sure I reverse my TikTok feed so that everything's showing right. So on the TikTok feed, it's going to be on the right side of the monitor. So on the right side of the monitor over here, you see Jordan Neely literally dealing with a chokehold from Daniel Penny. We've all heard this case earlier this week. Daniel Penny, the one performing the chokehold there, was completely cleared. I think the last charge was negligent homicide. He beat the manslaughter charge was thrown out on Friday. So Daniel Penny is a free man. We can talk about that any way, fashion, or form you want to, but he is a free man, so there's nothing hanging over Daniel Penny's head other than a civil suit, which could, who knows where that'll go. But what I want to ask is there discrimination in disorder? In other words, if you're being disorderly, does America treat you differently based on race, gender, culture? Does America treat you differently if you're being disorderly? Make no mistake about it. You see on the other split screen there, that is Ashley Babbitt. She is the one that lost her life on January 6th. Once again, she was trying to penetrate a hallway within the Capitol building, and a Capitol police officer struck her down. Now, the reason I have these two on the split screen is apparently many of the folks who believe that the African American there in the chokehold, Jordan Neely, many folks that believe his unruly behavior is what led to his death somehow are very sympathetic to Ashley Babbitt losing her life. Now, I want to ask you folks, maybe you can clarify this because I am indeed baffled. Why is Ashley Babbitt dealing with a sympathetic crowd when she was also unruly at the time of death, whereas Jordan Neely is literally being labeled as fuck around and find out, play stupid games, win stupid prizes? What is the difference? What is the difference? Why is one getting treated differently than the other? That is what I want to talk about. We're going to do a abbreviated live because I really want to figure out, is there some sort of discrimination in disorder? If you are being disorderly, does your race, culture, gender, is there something? Yeah, appreciate that, big dog. Thanks for the hat and mustache. Thank you. Is there something that is making Ashley Babbitt a sympathetic, disorderly individual over Jordan Neely? Both of these individuals had harmed no one at the time of their death. Neither one of these individuals had placed a finger on anyone. Ashley Babbitt had not harmed anybody. Jordan Neely had not harmed anybody. Neither individual was armed. Neither one of these individuals was carrying a firearm. So why is there such a distinct difference in how folks view the loss of Ashley Babbitt compared to the loss of Jordan Neely? That's what we're talking about. So we're going to go straight to the box quite quickly here today. You know how the program is. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We are MAGA friendly, always will be. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. You can be critical of anyone in the program, including the host. Anyone in the comment section. That's how we do it. We are all about free speech. So this could be interesting, but I want to get clarity because I'm not understanding it. So maybe some of you folks could help me. We'll start it out by saying tap the screen, get us up to about 5,000 likes. Helps out the FYP, brings in more MAGA because that's how the page is set. So certainly I appreciate you folks tapping the screen on TikTok. Get the likes up to about 10,000. Certainly, Stick the Ruler. Shout out to you for the sub. Thank you. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 10,000. Smash that like button on YouTube. Looking in the comments right off the bat on YouTube horizontal, I cannot pronounce all of that. Something Rooney says, I wouldn't call it full-blown racism, but definitely microaggressions and inherent biases at play. That could include political and gender bias. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. What is causing the view from many in regards to Ashley Babbitt's death to be so distinctly different from their view on the death of Jordan Neely? Both of these individuals were being unruly. Both of these individuals were unarmed. Neither one of these individuals had hurt anybody. Why are we treating their deaths so differently? What say you? Going straight to the box. I don't know what they were both doing, but if you break the law, there should be equal consequences for all. Ty, 100% agree. Stick. Welcome to the program, Stick the Ruler. Why is this so different?
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Hey.
You're asking me why is it so different on what again?
Why is it that most of the folks who believe Jordan Neely, the African American over my left shoulder that's being choked out, his death, why are many folks basically attaching a label of, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, fuck around and find out he was being unruly? Why are the same folks that feel little to no sympathy for the death of Jordan Neely very sympathetic for the death of Ashley Babbitt?
Okay. It's a lot of different reasons behind that. I would say one reason is what Ashley Babbitt was doing. They were sympathetic to it. For the ones that aren't upset about him and are upset about her, her plight was she was trying to, stop the steal. She was trying to be a patriot for Trump. And let's not forget she's a white woman, so that's carries a lot of weight.
So then, what if Ashley Babbitt was LaQuisha Jenkins doing the same thing?
Man, her name could have been LaQuisha Jenkins, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis. It wouldn't have mattered. No sympathy. No sympathy.
Even in the Capitol building.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you what they would do was, where was her sass? I mean, she didn't need nobody to protect her. See, so yeah, she don't, yeah, she's good.
So you're not, so in other words, it's not as much the mission that Ashley Babbitt was on, but it sounds like you're saying it's the skin color.
It's the skin color along with the mission. The mission is just the icing on the cake. That's what they use to justify why she was there. They use that to justify why she was there versus looking at what happened because of her behavior and what she was doing. That's why she lost her life. Yeah. Not because she was there to stop the steal, but what she did to try to stop the steal, or whatever was in her head that she was feeling.
But how do you respond to folks who might say, "Listen, this little woman, barely 5 feet, she's tiny. She was not a threat to anyone. You didn't have to take her life."
Well, I would say tell that to the Marine that's served in Fallujah, that had to worry about people the same size as her, just probably more covered up. They could be, on some suicidal type stuff, strapped up tight, and then now we got to worry about beepers and cell phones because of what
Israel. Oh man, that was a hell of a trick they pulled. He told the Israelis.
I can see somebody right now sending me a picture of my whirlpool that I have, to wash my clothes, So we're in that world now. Things have changed since my man Trump has gotten to office. So just like the man that really, he was having a mental issue at the time.
Yeah, okay.
But not only that, the guy that doesn't have the mental issue that's supposed to be restraining him, he doesn't have the mental fortitude to know how to ease up and not, unalive the man. So it's a lot to that, man.
So are you saying that Jordan Neely's his death? Are you saying that the individual there pictured Daniel Penny? Do you believe what he did was criminal?
I believe he may not have did it intentionally.
Right.
But I do believe that he broke the law. He held the choke too long, and it was negligent homicide.
Okay, so how would you respond? Okay, so if you believe that Daniel Penny broke the law, what about the Capitol police officer that took the life of Ashley Babbitt? Because President Trump at a rally once referred to that officer as a thug.
Well, this is different, and the reason it's different is, number one, this is on a subway. Number two, the guy that choked this other man out, yes, he was a Marine, but he was not an officer, or he was not a part of the subway police. So
he's a good Samaritan. He was a good Samaritan.
Yeah. Well,
he was playing the role of good Samaritan.
Yeah. I mean, so again, being that you're gonna play that role and you're gonna get in there, you got to realize along with that, it's just like Spider-Man quote: "With great power comes great responsibility." Yeah. So now that you done took on that role, you got to realize this man's life is in your hands while you got your arm around his neck.
Yeah, but if you're dealing with somebody that's unruly and you got to restrain him, are you really thinking that deeply into it?
I think that if you still putting that man in that chokehold for as long as you feel him, he's limp already, just like George Floyd when he got his. After a while, he was just limp, and the man was just still kneeling on him. So again, I mean, where does it begin and where does it end? I mean, again, he broke the law, regardless of what I say.
So if you're on the jury with Jordan Neely's case, you're putting Daniel Penny behind bars at least for some time.
I'm gonna be one of the jurors that vote if you're not gonna get him. I mean, I wouldn't do murder. I wouldn't do first-degree murder or
negligent homicide. What about negligent homicide?
I would definitely have to say yes, he is.
So what about in Ashley Babbitt's case? Because like I said, the cop that shot her, Trump referred to that cop as a thug. Should that cop have done any time?
No, and the reason why he shouldn't have done any time, and it's not that I don't feel for Ashley Babbitt, is you've been warned. Nobody's got you around the neck. Nobody's pulling you back. You see and you hear the man say he's got a gun.
Yeah.
And you still try to go through the window. You still bashing through the window. So the whole point is you got one guy that creeps up from behind and does a chokehold, and then you got one person that's doesn't have anybody restraining her, doesn't have anybody holding her back. Only thing she sees is, I guess, the House or Congress or whoever it is that is, trying to flee, and she wants to get in the room, and security is telling her, "Hey, you gotta go."
So it sounds like you believe that while Jordan Neely's death was a crime, you believe Ashley Babbitt's was justified.
Yes, I really do. By the officer, by the video that I seen, by everybody saying what they were saying in the sense of letting her know, hey man, this man has a weapon. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any clearer. I mean, she was trying to get in there. She was warned, maybe even a couple of times. We don't know because we don't know how long they was at that door. We just know from what we see in the video from that standpoint. I mean, it could have been a little bit longer than just that video.
Fair enough.
But we do know she was warned on the video, and we do know she was unalive on the video.
That is true.
And during that time, she had the point to say, back off, or one of y'all try to break in there. I'm a female. you go in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
She had. I mean, he don't.
She could have made better choices. What you're saying?
Look, yeah, she could have made way better choices, and he wasn't given a chance.
All right, Stick. Appreciate you coming through. I'm doing a little abbreviated today, but thank you for coming through, man.
Yeah, no problem, Till.
All
Have a
right,
good one.
anytime. And that is what we're discussing, folks. You see on the monitor behind me, we do have Ashley Babbitt, and you see there Jordan Neely is in a chokehold from Daniel Penny. I'm asking a question, simply put, why are these two deaths of two individuals that were being unruly at the time? Jordan Neely was on the subway threatening folks, which certainly would qualify him as being unruly. He's threatening to harm people. Ashley Babbitt was in the process of breaking into a glass door inside of the Capitol building. Now, neither Ashley Babbitt nor Jordan Neely actually put their hands on anybody. Neither one of these individuals actually physically harmed anyone. Yet they're both deceased, and the sentiment towards their deaths is exactly the opposite. At least, certainly, most certainly from MAGA and our president to be in January. Trump referred to the killer of Ashley Babbitt as a thug. I'm asking a simple question is why are their deaths being treated so differently? Both of them are being unruly. Both of them lost their lives at the time, which is why the live stream is titled, Is There Discrimination in Disorder? What is making Ashley Babbitt get far more sympathy than Jordan Neely? What's so different? They were both being unruly. I want to go back to the box. Real quick in the comments, everyone in each situation made their own decisions. I don't disagree with that. Well, one of the problems is instead of people accepting their wrong and taking warning, they feel entitled to escalate and draw higher levels of retribution in return. Some would argue that. Some would certainly argue that. Jay Keene. Before we go to the next call, I do want to make sure I respond to a couple of comments. He was having a mental breakdown. How convenient we choose to use that assessment on certain people. Well, whether he's having a mental breakdown or not, the people on the train don't know that. They don't. Someone riding home from work on the subway or riding to work or wherever they're going, they're not necessarily going to diagnose the guy as having a mental illness. All they know is he's on the train threatening to harm people. So perhaps he is having a mental breakdown. But do you expect an average citizen to know how to diagnose that? You, one of them bald head dudes, I wish had hair, can't get over it. Sheridan Pally, I don't know what, you turn the monitor off. That way you don't have to see that. I doubt it was intentional. He was murdered, but I think the factors of adrenaline, the setting of stress, it wasn't racism, but both were killed. Fair enough. Many say that. We'll go back to the box. That's not the first time write it on a salt way, not their first time seeing someone in that way. I don't understand what you're saying there, Timothy Lee. Ashley Babbitt, Jordan Neely. Why is there such a difference in how we view their loss of life? Jeff Ferguson, good evening. Welcome to the program, Jeff. Tap the screen, folks. Get the likes up to about 10 G's. We can certainly make that happen if you show the program some love. We'll give the box a moment to come in. And Timothy Lee, I don't get what you're saying. That's not the first time while it's on the salt way, not their, yeah, I don't know what that means, but we'll continue on. Let me see if I have to move it over to Wi-Fi. Something's happening with the box. Let's try it again with unapologetic black man. Got to go with who's there. Unapologetic. That's a hell of a name. So I got to know where you go. Unapologetic. Good evening.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So what do you think? Why are they treating you so different?
I mean, because they're totally different situations.
Okay. Explain.
If she would have stayed her ass behind that guardrail barking all day at the Capitol Police, then I guess that'd be the same thing. But the guard that was behind that door that she was gnawing through, I think people forget that she didn't even have gloves on. She was digging through glass, biting through that glass, trying to get through there. I'd be scared too. I probably unloaded my whole damn clip at them.
Well, the problem is though, you're talking about hundreds of people. If you unload your clip, once you run out of firearm, once you run out of out of bullets, you're in trouble.
Well, I mean, I can get, each clip is like 17. I got 2 of them. So as long as I can keep backing up, I get 34 on backup mode.
Are you saying you would have opened up?
Because
Go ahead.
I just mean that anybody like her that's coming through after I put a barricade on the door then you obviously know that this is the last. Like when you start putting barricades, obviously that's the last form of defense.
Right.
I am the last one. So if you get through my defense, then I'm gonna treat you like it's a zombie, like you're a fucking zombie. You gnawed through glass and climbed over furniture. This is some World War Z shit. You got to get dropped down. Sorry.
So if you are the cop in the Ashley Babbitt situation, you're emptying your weapon.
Yeah, I think he took too long. She got her hands and feet all in the glass. She was damn near through.
Wow. And here is,
I would have took a finger off or something.
We'll continue with this conversation, but I just want to play the clip real quick. This is that situation. I'm just thinking when you said I want to play the clip because you said I want to play the clip because you're talking about emptying the magazine into this environment. Somebody swearing. Now you got cops. Real quick, you got cops that are standing down with their back to the door. So if you empty the clip, you got plenty of police officers that are in the line of fire. Though
you see, the officers. A lot of people forget what kettling is. Officers know after so much damage, 140 police officers going to the hospital, ambulances, police officers were not going to get damaged. The last officers there had to stand their ground, which only they could do is it's called kettling. Is when you move out the way and you kind of herd them. You let them do what they're going to do, let them quiet down, let them leave, and that's what they had to do. As you see, the officers moved out the way.
Yeah. Oh, so once they move out the way, you go start firing through there.
No, I didn't say that. I said if you go forward, you'll see when the hole is starting to they shatter a hole through and they start gnawing through that hole.
Okay, let me read. It's only 56 seconds, so I moved it back a few seconds. This scene here is where the cops are still standing in front of the door. So you're saying the cops are going to move out of the way, then they can proceed to break the rest of the glass, and then that's when you start firing.
No, when she put her feet, like I said, she would have lost a finger or a toe.
Okay.
When you put your hand on that glass or you put your feet on that thing, I'm tearing those fingertips up and those toes up. You're not gonna climb through the glass with that feet hand.
All right, let me see the end of this. That's funny. From this angle, I cannot see Ashley Babbitt trying to climb through the doors. I don't know which one. I don't know what clothing she was wearing because I can't see her in this particular.
She's the one with the flag on her. She had a flag on her neck like Batman.
Let me see if I can.
She tied the flag around her neck.
Let me see.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! This is about to get dirty, man. That officer's got a gun. Get down. That's her.
Oh, at the top up here?
Yep.
All the way up there.
The flag around her neck.
Yeah, I see. I see. Yeah, wow. So she really was going through.
Yeah, she was going through. And then again, she had that military mindset, PTSD, just like that's the only thing I can compare those two incidents with is I feel like they both had PTSD. They had that military syndrome where they think they need to protect, they need to be first, they need to lead. And as she noticed, and again, like I told you 4 years ago when me and you first said this, MAGA men are weak as shit. There were hundreds of men around her. There were hundreds of men around her. And a woman went through that window first. MAGA men are just weak as shit. Like, that should have been a man that took that. Because, look, she was like the only woman around there. And you telling me that the guy that was breaking the glass, you saw him with the little shield? His ass should have been the first one through there. Right?
Well, the thing about it is probably once somebody said he's got a gun, a lot of them stood down. That's what it is. And she
And
kept going.
and a woman.
Yeah,
Yep, a woman.
yeah.
That's why I'm scared of MAGA women. I'm not scared of the men. It's the women. The women scared the shit out of me.
You scared of MAGA women, but
yeah, Proud Boys, they cover their face and go marching through the city with their schnazi flags. But the women, they climb through fucking windows with flags tied around their neck. Terrified of MAGA women.
oh my God. I wish I could clip that and make a video out of that alone. That is hilarious. Oh my God. So in other words, this is a justifiable shooting, in your opinion, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, like I said, the guy on the train, trying to be Batman, trying to be a vigilante. I think we need vigilante laws because vigilante can go overboard. That's what he was trying to do. Because I mean, I'm from Chicago. If anybody don't know, we have a huge public transportation system, and I had to ride the red line from 95th and then get on the blue line all the way to O'Hare Airport. And if incidents like that warns me to choke somebody, it would have been somebody choked out every goddamn day. We got crazy people on the red line.
That's a great point. Now, I haven't wrote the L in Chicago in a long time, but even when I was a kid, there's always been crazy people on the L on the subway in Chicago. That's a great point. If you could choke them out, people would be dead every day. Yeah, that is
every day. And not just like on the public transportation system. Everybody knows you could be coming out of work and it's a guy like, you got some change? You like, I don't got no change. And he'll throw a dead pigeon at you. Like, it's just crazy people everywhere. Like, you can't, is that okay for us to just go around the city and say, like police do, I fear for my life, so I choked his ass out and I didn't let go. And like, come on. Like, I get it that he didn't mean it. Yeah. But sometimes when you go overboard, you don't get a hero. You don't get a free pass. Because,
so you don't see Daniel Penny as a hero at all?
I see him as someone who's, again, a MAGA man, terrified motherfucker. Not to say it like that, but Trump supporting men, they're scary as shit. They won't bust a grape and a fruit fight. So that's why he choked that guy out because like I said, I'm from Chicago. You pop somebody in their damn mouth, they get too close to you. You know what I mean? Like, we fight. I'm not about to just. And then again, the guy didn't touch anybody on the train. He was just throwing out threats. Yeah. And again, that means this guy, Penny, he's never been to a club before. He's never been to fucking Disneyland. You know how many people threaten Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse? Are we just going to choke his ass out? Because I thought he was going to kill a Disney character. Like, people do this shit all the time. And I feel like we're just giving him a hall pass again. And sorry to say it like that, but this is racist. They give him a hall pass because it was a black man.
So you two believe that if Daniel Penny was, you two believe that, if Daniel, let's say if Daniel Penny was black, what if he was black and he's choking out a black Jordan Neely? Would it be a difference then?
His ass would be getting 15 years right now.
Damn.
They would have made up a law for his ass. They would have made up a black vigilante law. Your ass ain't the fucking police law. They would have made, look, that day, that week, it would have been announced that a new law is made in the city that you can't just going around choking the shit out of people if a black man did that to a white man. Wow. In America, that's not going to happen to him. I'm sorry to say it. You got to remember, like, me and you grew up that the first black cops, they couldn't even patrol white neighborhoods, remember? Yeah. The first black cops, they couldn't go to Bronzeville. They couldn't go to Addison. They couldn't go to Schaumburg. They couldn't police those neighborhoods. And then people think that, because we had kids, the world changed, and now black men can choke white men out. Hell no. That is not happening.
You win this with unapologetic. You know what I got to do? I got to move it. I'm having an abbreviated debate, but thank you. Thank you for coming through, man.
Always
appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Same. Moving on to now, I'm curious to see someone. I don't know if I'm going to have any guests that have a opposing opinion, but I'd be curious to see or hear from someone who actually favors Ashley Babbitt and do not believe that what happened to her was justified. Because there's a lot of people who believe. President Trump himself referred to the Capitol Police officer that took Ashley Babbitt's life. He referred to that person as a thug. Trump said that at a rally. So there's clearly people who do not believe Ashley Babbitt's death was justified. I'd be curious to speak to somebody like that. Dude on call is retarded. Bullshit, opinion, and lies. Austin, you're going after my last caller. Feel free to state why you're saying that. I mean, what is he lying about? Give me your opinion of what he said that was bullshit. I didn't hear it. So clear it up with me. Clear it up. He said your ass ain't the police law. Makes sense. Yeah. All right. Continuing on. The black guy that stabbed another guy on the subway for harassing his girlfriend was not charged. How I don't know. I'm not aware of that case, but how was the girlfriend harassed? Because Jordan Neely didn't touch anybody. He just was making threats. So, the case you're talking about, was there any physical contact at all? Go ahead and talk about the black guy who. Okay, we've seen that. All right. The Supreme Court said that the police don't have to put their lives on the line. Then what good are they? Flump one, two. What good is the police if they show up and they say, "Well, this is a dangerous situation. It could mean my life," and they can leave? I mean, and you are right. I do believe the Supreme Court ruled that. I don't understand how the hell can you force the taxpayers to pay to support and employ the police, but yet the police have no obligation to help the taxpayer. I think somebody needs to push back on it, but I do recall that being correct. The Supreme Court ruled the police though they have no obligation. I think that something like that happened in Parkland, Florida, where the school was being shot up. The cop came and he hid out while the gunfire was still going. If they have no obligation to save me, why do I have an obligation by means of tax money to pay their salary? He's essentially no good to me. Should I not be able to opt out of my tax money going to police if they have no obligation to say? That makes no sense. Maybe because we're so pro police in America, nobody has asked that question as a pushback. But yeah, it makes no sense. If you have no obligation to defend me, then why should I have to pay your salary? Looking in the comments, it says protect and serve on the police car. It does say that. But he is right about the Supreme Court, though. It does say protect and serve on most municipalities' police vehicles, but he is correct. The Supreme Court did rule they don't have to do nothing for you. So that protect and serve is just a lie, a bullshit statement. 2,000 police officers resigned in New York City. When did that happen, Johnny? Johnny Levin says 2,000 cops resigned in New York City. Let me go back to the box. Like I should opt out of school taxes, no kids in school. You'd have to explain where the similarities of that is. The purpose of schools is to teach children, so they'll become a more functionable member of society. I think the schools are somewhat doing. The Supreme Court did not rule that teachers have no obligation to teach your kids. I don't know how those two compare, but let me know. Going back to the box, we'll continue on with Travelman. Good evening, Travelman. Welcome to the program. Why is it indeed that these two cases are being viewed so differently when both of these individuals were unruly? They both lost their lives. Neither one of them were armed. Neither one of them touched anybody. But yet people were sympathetic to Ashley Babbitt and not so much to Jordan Neely. What's the difference?
Well, right off the bat, she was involved in attacking the Capitol. So she was already committing property damage of government property, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, they were breaking the window to enter into the hall where the representatives were conducting business.
That is true.
As a security, as a Secret Service or Capitol Police, your job is to defend that room.
That is true.
If you break that perimeter and you come through there, they gonna bust a cap in your ass.
But I get all of that, and I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with any of that. But I'm saying a lot of Americans believe that the taking of Ashley Babbitt's life was unjust, including President Trump. He believed that was an unjustifiable shooting. Yet a lot of people believe what happened to Jordan Neely was his own fault. Why are their deaths being viewed so differently?
Because the ones that's viewing hers as unjustifiable are MAGA.
That is true.
Have you heard anybody that wasn't MAGA saying that he was not justified in that? The man was doing his job.
So what are you saying? What are you saying? That
it should have been more bodies, to be honest with you.
You sound like my last two callers. Well, my last caller said he would have emptied the magazine.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm talking to him before they got there.
What do you mean?
It should have been more bodies.
I don't get that.
It should have been more. It should have been people laying on the steps of the Capitol.
You really believe the Capitol Police should open fire on all of those people like that?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
They were using makeshift weapons to attack them.
I'm being told, predominantly by MAGA when I talk to folks, that there is no way this was an insurrection because that crowd was unarmed. You're telling me that crowd was armed? Is that what you're...
They wouldn't even go through the mictometers when Trump was getting ready to speak. There's a lot of, and that's what the Capitol Police was saying on the radio.
Yeah.
Yes, it was weapons there. All right, come on, man. And the one saying it was a peaceful rap. Come on. When you talk to me, what I always say, stuck on stupid.
Yeah, I have heard that. I've heard you say that.
Okay.
So
you got the video. Video don't lie.
So the only difference here is that one is MAGA and one is not.
The difference is one was breaking the law.
Yeah, but you're saying
she was in attack mode.
Yeah, but you're saying
they weren't coming through that door to shake hands.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. But you are saying the only difference why people are sympathetic to the death of Ashley Babbitt as opposed to Jordan Neely is because Ashley Babbitt is MAGA.
She MAGA.
Yeah.
He came up behind the dude and put him in a chokehold. At any time during that encounter, at any time did anybody try to de-escalate the situation? Did anybody say, "Hey, bro, what's going on, man?" Because a lot of times, man, if you can talk to people, if you handle it the right way, you can talk to people. You don't even have to know them. Sometimes they just need somebody to listen to what they're saying, right? So somebody, "Hey, bro, what's going on, man? How you doing today?"
But let me push back. This individual has a series of symbols, so he doesn't have a name, but he says Jordan Neely was literally threatening and harassing people, or in other words, in attack mode. So he's saying that you're suggesting that Ashley Babbitt was in attack mode. The viewer is also saying that Jordan Neely, by way of his threats, was also in attack mode.
Ashley Babbitt actually was physically doing something. She was coming through the window. You see how they broke that window down?
Yeah,
they were smashing those windows like they used to smash the jails back in the day when they want to snatch somebody out for a lynching. That's how they were smashing that window. Only thing this dude was doing was prancing around the car. Talking, threatening people. So what? Did he put his hand on anybody? Did anybody try to de-escalate? Did anybody try to talk to him?
But you don't expect the citizens. That ain't what normally happens. I mean, if you're sitting out in public and somebody is threatening to harm you and you're in an environment like a subway train where you can't really flee, what do? You just wait until they actually start hurting you?
Dude weighed 125 pounds. What was he going to hurt?
Well, I mean, Ashley Babbitt weighed even less.
Yeah, but Ashley Babbitt was coming through a window with a crowd behind her.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah, she did have a few friends. She had a couple friends with her. Yeah.
She wasn't coming to have tea with Nancy. They were coming to do damage.
Yeah.
And like I said, yeah, the dude had some mental issues. But once again, like the brother before you from Chicago, right? I'm from East St. Louis. You walk in the streets and I drive Uber in DC every day.
Whoa.
I see crazy stuff all the time.
Whoa. Yeah, you do. Okay. Yeah, you do. I used to make Uber videos before I started talking politics. I'm quite aware of how wild ride sharing gets. So,
I have 25,000 rides in DC.
Damn.
And I have in 6 years, and I have only put 2 people out of my car.
No violence.
No violence.
Oh man, I've pulled weapons out on people. I've pulled weapons out on people, so I know how bad that gets. Huh?
But like what I was saying though, the guy, you can talk to people. No, I haven't seen the video, but out of all the conversations that I hear, I have not heard one person say that they approached this guy or just yelled at him.
Get away from him. Yeah.
Sit your black A down.
Yeah.
Or shut the F up. Or man, get your PA out of here.
Right. So before I do got to move it on, but before I do, let me ask: do you think race had anything to do with the judgment of either one of these people?
Man, I hate to bring that up. Ashley Babbitt, no. That was MAGA. Now, having said that, if that was BLM, it'd be some bodies on the street.
But wow, what if Ashley Babbitt was LaQuisha Jenkins, as I mentioned in one? What if she still was MAGA, but now she looked like she's LaQuisha. She looked like Queen Latifah or somebody like that. Do you think it would be any difference there?
If her name was LaQuisha, she probably wouldn't have been coming through that window.
What do you mean?
She'd have been like, look here, one of y'all need to get up in there.
You said the sister wouldn't have done that, huh?
No, man.
Well, some would argue a sister wouldn't be in that crowd to begin with. All right,
Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
Travel.
Okay.
Fair
She'd been
enough.
like, look here, one of y'all need to get up in there. First of all, she'd have been asking, what the hell we doing?
Yeah.
She'd have been saying, we about to go to jail. I'm up out of here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time they got to the point where they were at, they probably had already climbed a few walls, broke a few windows to even get to the point where they're at here in the hallway. So, I mean.
Yes, sir. He was doing his job. He was doing his job.
Wow. All right. Appreciate it, Travelman.
Hey, no problem. Take care, man. Take care.
You too. You too. All right, moving on with the program. I do want to make sure look at the videos that have been released. They did not have weapons. Well, here's a problem with that, because that's a lot of folks do say that. It can't be an insurrection. Nobody had weapons. There was nobody armed. How the hell could you say it was going to be an insurrection or some kind of coup or a takeover? It's a legitimate question. But the obvious comeback is, how do you know they didn't have weapons? As one of my last callers said, nobody went through magnetometers, so nobody was wanded or, checked for weapons. So how can you be certain no one, just because you didn't see a weapon doesn't mean they didn't have weapons? It's not like the cops are standing around saying, keep your hands out your pocket. These people are, for the most part, free to roam. So while you don't see any weapons, that is by no means any guarantee at all that weapons did not exist in that crowd. And somebody's pointing out, Johnny 11 is saying they did have sticks and poles. That is true. They're breaking out the window here in the video. So clearly, they're whatever they're using to bust that window wood could be used as a weapon, by the way, because they're not doing it with their bare hands. But in addition to them using sticks and flag poles and all of that stuff, I know a lot of my MAGA audience, my beloved MAGA viewers, the few of you folks that are watching, you didn't watch the January 6th hearings. You thought it was a sham. Nancy Pelosi, Liz Cheney, I don't have time for that. You didn't watch it. But the testimony of some of the Capitol Police, they did play radio chatter, coming out of the walkie-talkies. There were calls from officers saying they saw weapons. You can believe it if you want. You can disbelieve it. But there were radio calls coming in over the radio that day from officers saying they seen people in trees, they seen people with weapons. So the cops believe that some of those folks had weapons. The cops are saying they observed some of the members of the crowd that were armed. Tap the screen. I'll go back to the next caller. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 15,000. We're moving at a snail's pace here. I'm having a difficult time. I don't know what the hell's going on with TikTok. YouTube is fine, but I don't know what's wrong with TikTok. Maybe it's the subject matter. I don't know. Tap the screen. Get the likes up. There is video evidence of weapons, says Brent Macon. I haven't seen that. There's video evidence of, is it firearms? Obviously, people using sticks and flagpoles. Yeah, there's video evidence of that, plenty of it. But video evidence of firearms. Are you saying you've seen? I haven't seen that. People are probably taking a break from politics. I don't think so, Johnny. I don't think. Can't take a break from politics. We only got 5 weeks remaining before Trump's president. Can't take a break just yet. I watched it live from Australia. Garden tools can be made a weapon if useful in that way. Yeah, they certainly had fashion weapons, but we're talking about firearms. Is there any videos of people using firearms? That's what I'm asking. Restart the shadow banning you because of language from YouTube. Is that right? Because I'm not having any issue on YouTube. We'll see in a minute. If we got to do a restart, we'll do that. He's saying that there's some shadow banning going on because of language from YouTube. YouTube is doing fine. It's TikTok that's always doing the banning shit. Talk to people. Fuck both of them. Riot a lot. Hey, Gen X. did Ashley put her hands on anyone or make direct threats of violence on anyone? Did anyone try to de-escalate her or talk her down? What a crock of shit. Well, let's tackle your statement. You're saying that Ashley Babbitt put hands on anyone and make direct threats of violence. If the window, if you're cowering in fear and someone who says not a word at all, let's say you're hiding out somewhere, like in this case, I often bring this video up to show people. In the video, obviously they're hiding behind this door, and there's a good shot of it there. They're hiding behind the door. You see there is furniture turned upside down. Now, the part where you see the chair turned upside down, they done already smashed that window out. Now you're hiding on the other side of that door and you're cowering in fear. Now they break out the windows and they can clearly see you're cowering because you don't barricade all kinds of furniture up against the door. So they break out the windows and now they're going to climb over the furniture to get to where you are. So when you ask the question, did Ashley Babbitt put her hands on anyone or did she make any direct threats? If a person physically does all of that to get to where you at, do they have to threaten you at all? I mean, if you're in a location and you're cowering from someone and they're almost acting like the Terminator where they're tearing every damn thing down without saying a word. Remember Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator? He didn't say anything. He's just violently coming at you. So does she really have to make any threats if she's physically tearing the place down to get to where you're located at? So yeah, I don't know if her not making threats excuses because she's actually doing things. It ain't like she's just standing there smiling and he pops her. She is physically tearing stuff apart to get to where you're located at. She's doing it silently. Does she have to really be violent? And does she have to really yell out violent things at you before, okay, now I need to be scared of her? Now, in addition, you asked, did anyone try to de-escalate her or talk down to her? No. In neither one of these kids. But that's a good point. You're pushing back because my last caller said no one tried to de-escalate Jordan Neely. He came up from behind and choked him out. All right. Well, in this case, I don't know. I don't know what the officer that took Ashley Babbitt's life was yelling out because the crowd is so loud. I don't know how he could de-escalate this crowd. What is he going to say? I mean, they clearly are. I don't know if this crowd, just in my humble opinion, maybe you guys think I'm wrong. You can let me know in the comments, but I don't think there is anything that individual that took Ashley Babbitt's life could have said to that crowd by himself to de-escalate them. I don't think there's anything he could have said, but maybe I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, reviews are stopped after using the R slur word as TikTok labels it now. You mean like fleetard? You saying that word, the R word for that? Is that what? Wow. It's unfortunate when you are emotionally charged, we make mistakes based on our emotions. Yeah, we do. I agree with that. All right, unapologetic. I see you. Okay, well, maybe I will reset it. Tim, what would happen if another country had attacked us the same time? If another country had launched an attack on America during the Capitol riots, we'd have been in trouble. We'd have been in grave danger because the only person leading this great nation that was not under threat was Trump. Everybody else is preoccupied with all of this mess. And based on what happened there that day on January 6th, to me, this is probably a good example of why you shouldn't have all them people in the same building at once anymore. Maybe half the Senate, half of Congress can be there. The other half can send their votes ahead of time or something like that. But had this crowd been successful, let's say they were organized and they truly were trying to take over and take everybody out. They could have literally left us with Trump as the only leading body of this country. They had all of the Senate, all of the Congress, and the vice president in one building, and they had that building under siege. They could have literally chopped off the head of this nation. If we had been attacked while this happened, we would have been in real grave danger. Thank God that didn't happen. Look at in the comments, Tim, where do you think we as a country are headed next year? Hopefully towards prosperity. Hopefully, if Trump does what he says, it actually could be prosperous. Now, there will be a hell of a lot of division, and it's mainly because Trump likes to say divisive things, but there is a way he could secure the border, strengthen the economy, drill, baby, drill, and do everything he's talking about, and really have this as a prosperous country. But when you look at his Thanksgiving message, calling everybody lunatics and stuff like that on the left, he's not looking for unity. He's looking to kind of bring back the last administration, where you might get a good economy, but you're going to get a really divisive president. I'm going to reset this on TikTok briefly because they are apparently that word, the R word, in regards to mentally ill, apparently it was said on the program and it has screwed up with the numbers. So give me a minute on TikTok. Mike the Sailor, appreciate that. If you guys will bear with me, I'll reset it on YouTube. Will be just as normal. I'll continue on YouTube as normal, but on TikTok, I'm gonna reset the live. I'll be back in about 20 seconds. Looking in the comments, leg breaker, more like bootlicker. What do you mean by that, Misty? I don't quite get that. Trump never told them to storm the Capitol. He said protest peacefully and responsibly. Yeah, but the rest of his speakers told him to, let's have trial by combat. And, the speakers before Trump did not say anything about doing anything peacefully. Do we discount all of them and only go by Trump's go peacefully and patriotically? That's the only thing that counts from that day? Because Giuliani, Flynn, Steve Bannon, their words, their advice was not peaceful. They didn't say nothing about do anything peaceful. Do you ignore that? Because Trump didn't get up there and say, don't listen to them. So, I don't know why none of their statements count. They're all guest speakers. They all spoke for quite a bit of time before Trump. Be mad at them. Trump didn't tell them to say that. Well, Kenny Howard, the problem is, even though Trump didn't tell him to say that, they said it, and Trump still was hanging around with those people. And they're still saying stuff like that. So it's hard not to believe that Trump may have been okay with it. He's still hanging around all those guys. And they're still talking like that. So I don't know how, does he get you can't, it's hard to separate go peacefully and patriotically from, let's have trial by combat and all that stuff. If the group that said both of those things are still happily hanging together. Trump is all of those folks, Trump is still happily hanging around. They're still popping up at the rallies and stuff like that. And the inflammatory language that Steve Bannon used there that day, he's still using it now while standing side by side with Trump. So at the very least, it's confusing. It's confusing. I know he's looking for law and order. Okay. I got friends in prison. I'm not guilty, says Kenny Howard. I don't know what that means. Let me go back to restarting TikTok. Don't know what happened there, but celebrate the season when the 500 billion worth celebrate the season when the 500 billion worth Elon Musk and the 15,000 a month tax paid senators with health benefits will take away the average 1,700 a month American Social Security and ACA. Well, if that happens, that's not going to be good. But they're saying they ain't gonna do that. At the end of the day, my stance on Trump is I wasn't a fan of some of the things he promised in the campaign, but he is our president. So my stance is I'm going to give the guy a chance, just like we did the first time, and hopefully he does a decent job. I mean, I am concerned with some of the things he's promising and some of the things he said, but as opposed to just fear-mongering my way through it, I'm going to give a guy a chance, and we'll certainly be talking about things. If he fucks up, we'll talk about it. If he does well, we'll talk about it. That's how I believe in doing it. I don't want to throw the guy in the garbage can just yet, but we'll see. All right, we're coming back now that we got the live going again. I just want to make sure if I could show clips and show how ridiculous you guys are, it would be knocking pinned. Wait a minute. If I could, this is coming from Leg Breaker, like the name Leg Breaker. If I could show clips and show how ridiculous you guys are, it would be knocking pinned down like nothing. You guys have no foundation. Blake Breaker, elaborate a little bit more on that. You can be critical. I don't mind that. I got thick skin. You can say whatever the hell you want on the program as long as the YouTube censors allow it. But elaborate on your statement. I just want to get clarity. I'm for free speech, but I don't quite understand what you're saying. So clarify it. Are you responsible for what I say? No, we're not. Trump did great the first time. Depends on how you're judging him. He wasn't, listen, if you judge Trump based on maybe the economy, you favor him. I don't think his handling of the pandemic would get a great grade. He wasn't great at how he handled the pandemic. So depends on it depends on what you're judging him on. He was going to build a wall. Did he do a great job at that? He was going to repeal and replace Obamacare. Did he do a great job at that? He was going to drain the swamp. You give him a great job. So it depends. When you're saying he did a great job, my instant pushback is, where are you judging him where you're saying he deserves a good? To me, great is like getting an A or an A plus. Would you give him an A plus on building a wall, draining the swamp, repealing the, these are the things he ran on. Would you give him an A plus on that stuff? Let me go back to the box. If we were going to be stuck with one president, I would prefer Obama. Wow, says Miss White, 96. I would probably go with Bill Clinton, just simply because I think he would be less divisive. I was fine with Barack Obama as well, but I would probably go with Bill Clinton. He's a native of Arkansas, so he's actually able to relate to, he lived in Arkansas and he's lived in New York. So he knows about rural America. He knows about urban America. He can relate to all, my categories of people, minorities. He came from a white. I would probably say Bill Clinton. I think he would be more unifying. People are not going to like Barack Obama just simply because of race. That is going to matter in this country. I don't know what percentage of people, but I'm not going to pretend like there's nobody who would dislike Obama because he's black. I'm not going to say something stupid like that. So I'm going to say I would probably go with Bill Clinton over Obama for simply that reason. Looking in the comments, he'll talk circles around you, but blood sounds desperate nowadays. I don't quite get that. Let me go back to the box, see if we can get the program going back this time. MAGA reacts. There we go. Good evening, MAGA. Welcome to the program. Now, I don't know if you know what we're discussing, but good evening. Okay.
Talking about Ashley?
We're talking about why is Ashley Babbitt, the death of Ashley Babbitt, and we're comparing her death to the death of Jordan Neely on the subway in New York. You see them both pictured there. And neither one of these individuals put a hand on anybody. Both individuals lost their life without touching anyone, yet folks view their deaths so differently. People view Jordan Neely as fuck around and find out. They view him as play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but they're very sympathetic to the loss of Ashley Babbitt. So why is there such a difference?
Well, one was a protest where everybody was protesting. The other one was a quiet a quiet subway ride until this guy came up, and he was directly verbally being aggressive toward people directly, even though it's only verbally. It was more direct. I just saw the video. This guy unalived her from the side. Like, she wasn't even going at him.
But you're saying it's a protest. When you look at, when you look at what's happening, you call that a protest where they're smashing windows and stuff? That's a protest to you?
That's where it gets tricky. They were smashing windows because they were trying to gain access. But once they get through the doors, they don't really do much damage to the rest of the building. It's mostly just obstacles to get in.
They're in the building now doing this. They done already got in the building. Now they're inside the building, smashing windows of other doors inside the building.
Yeah, they just wanted more access so they could be heard everywhere, I guess. I don't want to...
That's a protest? That's how you do a protest, is you break in somewhere, and then you break in other spots deeper in the building. That's a protest to you.
It's all about being heard. And again, which I keep bringing this up, if we base this on the level of protesting BLM was doing, if they didn't do this, they would have never even been heard. Like, unfortunately, that's how they thought at the time, because BLM was setting cars on fire and taking over entire cities.
And you
So
call
I
that a
mean, they were
riot,
barely even.
right? You don't call BLM setting cars on fire. You don't call that a protest. You call it a riot, right?
Yeah, I also consider this a riot. When
Okay.
I say protesting, I don't mean it's not a riot as well.
Okay.
No, it's rioting as well. But the whole point is to be heard, and you want to be heard, so you want to go in a location. I mean, there's a lot of situations where people sneak into the actual meetings and pretend to be an audience guy, and then all of a sudden start screaming to be heard. So you have to get in there to be heard sometimes.
So because she is wanting to be heard, and by the way, she's obviously scaring the shit out of people because that's why they got barricades and stuff up against the door. You're saying they should just so that she can be heard. Just let her do whatever she wants in the building and go where she wants to be heard at.
Well, she hasn't hurt anyone up to here. I mean, I don't think anyone's gotten, other than, again, trying to get through them.
Right.
They haven't really hurt anyone as far as I know. Other than, getting through them to get in. Most of the violence January 6th was to get in. Once they were in, they didn't want to hurt anyone. So
but how do the
they didn't
people
really do
know
anything once
that,
they're
though?
in.
But how do the people know that, though, MAGA Reacts? If you're cowering somewhere and hiding and you don't put furniture up against the door like these people did, and then they're breaking through the door to climb over the furniture, how do you know that person that's trying to get to where you are is not going to hurt you? Do you just wait and let them come right up to you and hope they don't hurt you?
Well, at least wait till they come at you. He shot her. He unalived her from the side. She was going through the door, no weapons or anything in her hands, just going in, and then he literally from the left, almost hiding in the corner.
So he should have just let her climb over the furniture and all of that before he did anything.
I mean, what you're supposed to do is wait till she actually comes at you. She wasn't going at him. She wasn't going in his direction. She was just
you don't know yet. She's climbing into the room, so you got to wait till she comes in the room and see if she's coming at you first.
If once he enters the room, if she turns around and goes after him, then yeah. If she turns his way, like she's gonna attack him, then he's allowed to shoot her, unalive her. Sorry.
And at that point, she don't made a path, so everybody else can come in there now. And that's
the window's already busted.
You really so you really think that if they're hiding like that, crouched down, which is what you got 3 interns behind this guy.
At least shoot a warning shot. He didn't even shoot a warning shot. He went just straight into her.
Have you ever heard of any police department in America that teach their cops to fire warning shots?
I understand, but you're also not taught to shoot at people from the side like that.
You're taught to fire wherever you can hit the person, center mass. If the person is moving and twisting around, what if somebody is? This is something I've said before. Go ahead.
I mean, look at what happened with the guy that raised his hands or whatever. We thought, that was unjust, and he was just raising his hands. He was still looking at the guy. I mean, this is almost shooting her in the back. This is the side. This isn't like she was coming at him. If he was in front of that window and she was coming through, I would at least be like, all right, she's actually going his direction. I mean, this is such a side. This is almost shooting her in the back.
No, she's trying to climb through the window, and you're saying, make sure you got to be aiming directly at her. Let her climb over the furniture and get in first and see what she's going to do. It almost sounds like you're trying everything you can to avoid. Go ahead.
We don't know she's coming in to hurt this guy. We know she's coming in as a part of the protest. Once she's in and she turns around and goes toward him, then he could alive her. But he did it from I'm watching the video. I've never really looked at this video this close before because I don't like seeing people being unalived.
Right.
But this is such a side, look at the video. He's on the side.
I hear what you're saying, but okay, you don't barricade yourself in this room with furniture is literally upside down against the door. They don't smash the windows out, and now they're about to climb over the furniture. And you're saying at that point there is still not enough to use force yet.
Yeah, if he would have waited another 2 seconds, once she actually landed, if she the second she turned toward him, even look his way, he could have done it. If she wasn't looking his way, she wasn't going toward him in any way. She was just going through the door. He would have been better off being in there, pushing her back into the other area.
I think you're giving her
range. They did nothing to harm him.
Nobody. I think you're giving her.
They weren't even attacking the window he was at. They were attacking the other window. The window he's at doesn't even look damaged.
they're coming in a room you're in that you don't put furniture up against the door. I see somebody in the comments says, "Bro, just eating mayonnaise with crackers." Oh my God! But you got furniture up against the people behind this door are clearly frightened. You don't put furniture up against a door to barricade the door unless you're really scared from something coming in there. And they don't broke out the window and they about to climb over the furniture and you like, well, make sure you don't hit her from the side. Make sure you don't pop her until she's in the room. You're trying everything you can to save her life when she is being incredibly destructive.
They already made it halfway through without hurting anyone, like, especially not, unaliving anyone. And why is this point so critical? Why at this point, all of a sudden, they had to unalive her? Like, if it was maybe more at the entrance, which I thought this happened at the entrance, when they first were trying to get in.
This is worse.
At the entrance, I would understand.
No, this is actually worse because they're in the building and now they're trying to proceed deeper into the building. To me, this is worse than at the entrance because now they're trying to get all the way deep into the building.
I know, but they haven't unalived anyone, and these people had radios, so they know. I mean, they didn't hear any gunshot, any pew-pews. There was no pew-pews being shut off. There was nobody reported being hurt in a major way or being unalived.
We just saw
being on the ground a little different, and I'm sure the guy was scared. But to do it from the side like that, I just don't like it. If he was directly in front of her, standing in the doorway, like in her path, and she continued to go through, he had the right to do it. But to do it from the side, I mean, would you like to be like,
from the side? I mean, I gotta say, man, what you said is funny as hell. I mean, you climbing in.
A 90-degree angle, like this is like almost execution style. Like, I always thought it was more direct. I always thought it was like he was behind a bunch of stuff, and she was coming through it right at him.
I'm going to tell you. And I see in the comments, Will G says MAGA is completely shameless and hypocritical. I'm going to tell you.
I think you're watching the same video I have, right?
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm going to just tell you this. I don't care, and I've said this before in the program, I don't care if somebody is robbing a liquor store or they're wearing a badge. If somebody is aiming a firearm at you and yelling instructions and you choose not to listen to those instructions, you increase the likelihood of getting shot. It is as simple as all this from the side. If somebody is aiming a gun at you and they're yelling for you to do something and you choose to ignore that and continue doing what you want to do, which is actually encroaching on them, you increase the likelihood of getting popped. It is as simple as that. Don't have to be a cop. It could be anybody.
I wish he was more in front of her. I mean, why be on the side? If he was more in front of her, aiming at her, then I would agree with you 1,000%.
But also keep him
almost like hidden in the side, like he's worried about.
But let me say this out, MAGA Reacts. Let me also say this: the cop who took her life has no clue if she was armed or not, so he don't know if she could have climbed over that barricade.
Well, he sees her hands, no weapons in her hand.
Okay, is that the only place an armed person can carry a weapon is in their hands? It can't be in their waist, can't be in their pocket.
No, I understand, but like directly, like if she would have gone for it, he had so much time. Like, this is a small window. As she climbed through there, she had to land on the other side and then pull a pew-pew out and aim at him. Like,
and he should wait for all of that. He should wait to see if she's going to do all of that.
Wait for her to look at him, or like, he's ready to go. It's not like he had to pull out his pew-pew. He's ready to go. He had so much time to wait. I mean, look at what happened with Kyle. He definitely waited till the guy Rittenhouse.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a cop though. He's not a trained police officer. No cop is cop is trained to give all the leeway that you're talking about. Any cop that does what you're talking about, if he loses his life, people go say it's because he hesitated.
Listen, now it's taken to trial, right? And in every situation with him, he waited till he was actually being, like, some guy had a gun and he was walking toward him, and he waited till.
But Kyle Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old kid. He's not trained. This guy's a Capitol Police officer. He's trained not to make the mistakes of Kyle Rittenhouse.
If a kid could hold off until he's actually getting a pew-pew pointed at him, and this trained person can't. I mean, hold this guy to a bigger standard than a random little kid.
But you waited
until he was actually. These people had
You make a hold on. You make an interesting comparison about how Kyle Rittenhouse waited as opposed to this Capitol Police officer. You do realize the only thing that saved Kyle Rittenhouse is utter luck because that guy he blew the bicep off of, and I'm 100% certain Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense. I do agree with that. But that guy who he shot with the bicep, the only reason Kyle Rittenhouse lived is that guy got that close to him. That guy had plenty of time to pop Kyle Rittenhouse for hesitating, like you're saying. The only reason why he's alive is he got lucky.
But you saw he waited till he actually pulled the.
Yeah, and it could have cost him his life. You don't do what he did. What he did was he just got lucky. That's it.
I understand, but they put him on trial even though he waited till.
Yeah, that's a different argument. That's a different argument. I agree with self-defense, but the reason he is alive is luck.
I'm just saying, if we're using him as the example, every time he waited till, and he only went after people who directly attacked him. These guys aren't even going toward him. He's on the side, and they're not going in his direction at this point. If he was standing in front of the door and she was going through the door, then he would be in the right.
That's crazy.
But he's on the side. And
so would you get that cop jail time?
What's up?
Would you get a black police officer that took Ashley Babbitt's life? Would you give him a charge? You think he deserves to be receiving jail time?
I wouldn't go that far either.
So it was justified then.
I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. Like, I think I just wouldn't.
If you're his commanding, if you're his commanding officer, would you demote or discipline him in any way for that?
I would definitely fire him.
Damn. All right.
At least that, because you gotta have a little. I mean, you're a professional. You have to have a little bit more discipline than a 17-year-old kid.
God.
And that kid was very disciplined, and they still took him to trial and put him in jail for months. You imagine everything he went with that much discipline. We're talking about a professional that's, has.
I don't want to go into Kyle Rittenhouse situation because, like I said, I do believe it was self-defense. But Kyle Rittenhouse, his actions, he made all kinds of poor choices. He shouldn't have been out there that day. So, yeah, he went to jail for a little while. But you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You knew what you was getting yourself into.
Yeah, and Ashley shouldn't have been there either. But from the side like that it was really tough for me. I never realized that. I mean,
that side shit got me cracking up. I got to move it on, Magari X. You know it's always good talking to you, man. Huh?
Take care.
All right, man.
Always, take care.
Anytime. All right, moving on to the program. I see wanted to respond to a super chat. Will G says, the guy that got X'd on the train wasn't white and rich. That is why there isn't the same energy. I think Magari X, my last call, is the only one that's not saying that so far, is that race had something to do with it. But we'll go back to the box. I do want to ask you folks to tap the screen on TikTok. Get us up to about 10,000 if you can. Tap the screen. Smash that like button on YouTube. We are indeed talking about the fact that Ashley Babbitt lost her life. Jordan Neely lost his life while both were considered to be acting unruly. Jordan Neely was making threats to passengers on the train. Ashley Babbitt was in a full-on riot. And many folks that are sympathetic to the loss of life for Ashley Babbitt believe that Jordan Neely had it coming, that he kind of, his own actions is why he's not with us. And I'm asking, why are folks viewing their deaths so differently? They both were being unruly. They both never put their hands on anyone violently. They both were officially unarmed. Why is one getting a sympathetic ear and the other one is being told, play stupid games, win stupid prizes? Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 15,000. Going back to the box, I don't know what I just hit there before I go back to the box. These poor Trump supporters, so misguided, so ignorant. What can you do? Says June back. Even black people on the train station was in favor of what the white gentleman did. Where was the family? Why he was homeless and now they demanding money? That did come up, Maria, that did come up. Somebody said that, the father is all of a sudden suing Daniel Penny. It's like, where were you when your kid was going through mental illness and shit like that? Now all of a sudden he loses his life on the subway and you want to pop up and sue Daniel Penny. But like, where were you as a dad? I mean, we can certainly talk about that. How old, by the way, how old was Jordan Neely? I'd like to know that. How old was he? Continuing on, though, I would have been playing Nintendo Duck Hunt with January 6 rioters. Unapologetic black men in the comments said, I would have been playing Nintendo Duck Hunt with January 6 rioters. Damn, you just popping people off at will, huh? Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with, Jesus, I'm just thinking about what he just said there. Alan, good evening, Alan Quinn. America, that's what we do. America, fuck yes, I would say. Alan, good evening.
Tim, what's going on?
Oh man, I don't even know on this one here, but why do you think they're getting treated so differently or viewed so
Okay, Tim,
differently?
let's look at let's give it some historical context. If you look at black women when they go to the hospital, they don't get the same health care as white women. White women don't get an epidural so that they can have pain relief, while black women are looked at as, oh well, you can handle that. They don't look at us as human, Tim.
Modern day?
Modern day, Tim, go look.
Wow.
Man, come on, Tim. The mortality rates for
I mean,
black women
I
in
mean,
pregnancy.
you know, my ex-wife gave birth to my daughter, and I mean, I thought she got. I mean,
Look at the mortality rates.
yeah.
Look up the mortality rates between black women and white women, and that's why. And everybody's sympathetic because this is a white girl who was going through a window. And here's the thing. No cop. I was in the United States Navy, and I was on my ship security alert team, and one of the first things they told us is somebody comes on this ship and you got a chance to take cover, you take cover. You take cover, defend the ship from a covered position. Cops are taught the same damn thing.
Yeah.
That cop, he's a black cop. MAGA Reacts doesn't like it because it was a black cop who shot a white woman.
So
Let's
you
call
see,
it what it
so
is.
you see race all over this.
Tim, if you're comparing the two, yes. If you're comparing the two, yes. Because black officer shoots white woman who was breaking into a building, and here's MAGA Reacts. He shouldn't have done it. He was a coward. I would have fired him.
Yeah, he did say he would fire him. Well, at least he didn't say he would jail him.
Wait. Hold on. Now, let's take a white cop, I think he was also in Minnesota, who shot Philando Castile, who told him, hey, man, I have a licensed firearm in the car. Did not reach for the firearm, did not do anything, had his hands in plain sight, and he was killed on Facebook Live with his child in the back seat.
That was disturbing. I have seen that many times, but he claims Castile was reaching. He got off on that too, didn't he?
You can see on the live he didn't reach for anything.
Hey.
But MAGA Reacts, and people like MAGA Reacts, and people who think like MAGA Reacts, including Gen X, they would sit up and say, well, he should have complied. And he did everything he complied. Where was the NRA?
Yeah. MAGA Reacts in the comments. He was talking about Ashley Babbitt getting shot from the side so much. He says also wrong because he shot Philando Castile from the side. He really got something. He really got a beef against people getting shot on the side.
He's only saying that because he's getting called out. You call MAGA Reacts or Gen X out, all of a sudden they now they know how to be civilized. They're cowards when it comes to it. When they're confronted with truth and they actually have it in their face. I can't remember. What was the name? Siren. Siren came on here and ate damn Gen X's ass up.
Yeah. And
so my point is, everybody's got sympathy. All these MAGA folks got sympathy for Ashley Babbitt because she's a white woman shot by a black man.
So what if she was... So I'm asking the same question I've been asking everybody else. What if Ashley Babbitt was LaQuisha Jenkins doing the same thing?
They would have shot her before she got through the damn door.
So straight.
Tim, let's not play this game. You from the south side of Chicago. Don't even play with me. I'm not gonna let you get away with that with me, Tim. You from the south side of Chicago.
Well, hold on, hang on, because Will G on YouTube has said something similar. He says there was a slew of physical distraught white girls, and the media and public opinion said they all needed mental evaluation, but a black person, physically distraught, lethal action has to be taken. So let's tackle that. If somebody is mentally ill in society, causing a disruption, you too believe, like what Will G said, that mentally ill person, it helps if they're a white girl versus a black man?
Yes, Tim, there was a white man in Florida who was swinging an axe in the middle of the street. They talked him down. Who's my man who was in South Carolina, shot up the black church? Oh, we understand, little white boy. It's okay. What about the white dude who shot up the BLM protest? Oh, little white boy, it's okay. Come on, Tim.
Yeah,
call it down the middle. Call it balls and strikes. Call it what it is.
The Buffalo supermarket shooter was a white kid too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. People, can say, oh, you're making it about race, you're playing race. Look at what the numbers tell you. How many black people walking around with guns, shooting up everything, walk away?
Bro, you do have a lot of shootings in the hood. Black people are killing other black people in the hood wholesale.
Tim, listen to what I'm saying. If a black man goes to a white protest, let me go to a white Klan rally and let me start shooting. Do you think I'm going to walk away alive? Yes or no?
If you go to a Klan rally and do that?
I go to a Klan protest, they walk in, just like they did in Columbus, Ohio. If I decided to do the same thing that white kid did in Illinois, and hey, I'm going to bring my firearm and I'm going to shoot this thing up. If I did that.
Yeah, you're going to pay a heavy price for that.
Thank you,
If one of the Klan members don't get your ass, but yeah, the government ain't going to let you get away with that.
So that's my point. There is a we are over-policed. We are over-prisoned. We have excessive. Look at the sentencing. Look at all the sentencing rules. You know it's disproportionate.
Well, the study says disproportionate. Now, see, Will says we must be powerful beings for white people to automatically try to think to kill.
Exactly.
In modern time, they're killing like that.
We're still not looked at as human on their level. It's not, and here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this for you white. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. Nothing is absolute on this planet. But what I am saying is there's a vast majority. There's an overwhelming majority, whether we want to realize it or not. And until we start having intellectually honest conversation and talking about it and putting it on Front Street and calling things what they are, it's not going to change.
Now, see the comments though. You got a detractor. Maria says that guy on the phone is very racist, full of hate and demons. So a lot of folks he's not the only one. A lot of folks are saying your comments and many of my other callers are racially charged.
You know what? Here's the thing. You can say that, but let's have an honest conversation about it. Let's have an honest conversation. Because here's the thing. What systematic power do black people have to impact white people?
They got power in some areas. I mean, white people.
Tim.
I'm trying to explain it.
Don't move the goalpost.
No, I'm not moving the goalpost at all. For instance, if I try to get a job at a company where it's owned by a white person, I would say that's discrimination and racism. Well, there's a lot of black people that own businesses and things like that too. They can do that to a white applicant. There are places where black people have power.
Let's look at numbers.
Okay, that's different. You're moving the goalposts. You said that blacks can't do it. Now you said, well, there's more whites in positions.
No. What I'm saying is, I said systematically, which when we're talking about systemically, we're talking about if you go down to the Chamber of Commerce and you say, hey, how many black businesses are in this town? And they say, oh, there's 1,000. And then you say, how many white businesses are in this town? 10,000.
I would even tell you though, systemically, there are blacks in positions where they can have systemic racism against whites. If you're in any urban American city, like let's say Chicago, where I'm from, the government in Chicago is predominantly minorities. I'm sure there are minorities, whether it's the Park District, the CTA, the transit system, where hell, it happened to me. I'll give you a perfect example. It happened with me. When I went to become an engineer with AT&T, which was called Ameritech at the time, the phone company in Chicago, there was a woman that was an African American that was the head of HR. She was hiring none but black people. She was, and us black people, when she retired, we gave her a ton of money. She was doing exactly what you're talking about in favor of blacks.
Now, Tim, my mother worked for what used to be Southwestern Bell, same as Ameritech,
same thing, same company.
AT&T.
Right.
Okay, that's a global. That's a internet. That's a national company, correct?
Yeah.
And you were in Chicago, right?
Yes.
And you were and she was affecting that particular building, right?
She was hiring in more than one building, though.
Okay, but it was in Chicago. Let's just leave it at Chicago, right?
Right.
Okay, how many other cities is that happening in, Tim? How many Chicagos are there?
There's probably a lot of black HR that's doing what she did.
Come on, Tim. How many, and how many...
Hold on. You started out...
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not simply saying it doesn't happen.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Not saying it doesn't
That's
happen.
all I'm saying.
Again, I said nothing on this planet is absolute.
Okay, nothing. Now we're getting somewhere. I'm just simply saying...
But what I'm saying is, let's weigh the scale, Tim.
That's a different argument, though, and I agree with
It's the
you.
same
No,
argument.
no, it's not. Let me tell you why. And I really hate that you did. I like to play the other side, but damn, you got me defending white people on discrimination. But but I gotta be fair. You know, free speech. I gotta defend them because I disagree with what you're saying. I do
Okay.
believe there are far more white people in positions of power. So there's no doubt the amount of systemic racism is going to be tailored against blacks. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is there are plenty of blacks in positions of power where they can be systemically racist towards whites. It's just far
Okay.
fewer of them. Far fewer of them can
Okay.
do it.
Okay, so do you believe that the white man is oppressed in America? Do you believe that, Tim?
If I try to get a job, let's you you're making me work. You're making me work. Let me go and put on some white makeup here. 'Cause I'm about to turn into. You can call me Todd. Okay, let me go ahead for the remaining of this remaining of this conversation. Todd Kaczynski. Okay, so. What I'm going to say is this. Let's say, for instance, I want to become a fire person. You know, maybe I
Right.
don't marry a black girl and I live in the hood now, but I got a resume that shows I used to be a firefighter down in the suburbs where I live at. I'm married with her. We live in the hood, living around our family or whatever. And
Okay.
the firehouse is all black. And I go
Okay.
apply to work at that firehouse. You telling me that there are not that situation does not happen to some white people where they go apply for a job and an employer would rather hire blacks? You telling me that can't happen?
I'm not saying that it can't happen,
That's
Tim.
racism.
But Tim, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. I know you and Siren, y'all had a debate about this, and I know you don't think that race. I know you don't see that power is a component of racism.
I
And what
do.
I'm saying,
I do. I do
okay,
see that.
you agree it. Okay, so when we look at power, and we're talking about race, we don't have the power to impact white folks the way that they have the power to impact us.
Yeah, but
The
you
numbers
you
in this.
really I'm not disagreeing with you, but you're moving the bar further and further. You originally made it sound like white people are impervious, like racism can't even happen to them. Now you're
No, no, no,
moving
no,
it.
no. Okay. Let me clarify it then. Let me. What I'm saying is this: we do not have the power to impact systemic racism onto white people. We cannot. We can't sit up here. Look at the judicial system. Just take the justice system. You take that. Look at the disparity. We can do all we try to do. They gerrymander the district so we can't vote people in who can affect policy for us.
I don't totally agree with that either, and I'll tell you why.
Tim,
I'm trying to
let's
explain
say
it to
redline
you.
Chicago.
I think here's where you and I agree. I
Come
do
on.
believe there because whites are more in positions of wealth, positions of power by far more than blacks are. So if you're talking about who gets victimized more, yeah, I agree that the numbers are going to be disproportionately in favor of white people. Where I
Right.
disagree is that it's not. What I disagree with is that it's not also happening to some white people. Like
No, Tim. Again, I said nothing is absolute.
let
There's
me let
some
me
white
give you an
people.
example. Let me give you an example. This video,
Okay.
this screen I got right here. Many would agree, many would say rather, and agree, and I'm one of those people that the only reason that Daniel Penny rather, even got charged with manslaughter is because he was white and he choked out a black guy. I believe that. I believe that if Daniel Penny was black and the guy getting choked out was black also, I don't think this would have went as far. I do believe that being white did not help Daniel Penny in regards to Alvin Bragg deciding to charge him.
I don't disagree with that.
That's systemic racism towards a white man.
Wait, Tim. And I asked you this the other day. Reverse it. If it had been a black man choking and killing a
He's
white
fucked
man.
up. He's fucked up. It's over with.
Okay, so Tim, do you not see how that's racist?
Well, the only difference between your example where I said the black man choking him out would be fucked up, and the difference between that and Daniel Penny is that the jury found Daniel Penny not guilty. They did try to hang him too. He was facing a manslaughter charge. It ain't like the system took it easy on Daniel Penny. He beat the charge. They tried to give him a manslaughter charge.
A black man would have faced murder one, and the reason why is because you knew you were a trained killer by the United States military.
I don't know if that would have flew. I don't think that would have got by. I don't. They could have charged him with it.
Tim,
I think he would have beat that.
what do people in martial arts and the MMA and all that have to tell somebody? Are they not held to a higher standard when they get into any kind of physical altercation in public?
Murder one? No. No, you're not gonna get
Tim,
murder one on that.
Tim,
Premeditated murder.
It's a white man. A white man is dead on the street on video from a black man. Come on, Tim.
All right. Okay, we can agree to disagree. I think manslaughter, maybe murder two if you had an overzealous prosecutor that didn't like black people, but murder one ain't gonna fly.
Okay. Either way, they're gonna file two charges. They're gonna sit up here and say you can consider. We're trying to get him for murder one, but we'll take a lesser offense at murder two.
Well, they filed two charges. They did file two charges against Daniel Penny, manslaughter and negligent homicide. They went after Daniel Penny. They did go after him. They didn't give it.
Now, if you don't want to get him on the manslaughter, you damn sure ought to get him for negligent homicide because he knew what he was capable of. I don't know what his training in the military was, but there's a point where they do know, hey, I've got this man in this chokehold. I know if I hold him this long, he'll be unconscious. I know if I hold him this long, he'll be dead.
All right.
So there's an internal clock that they're taught.
I get that, but there's heat of the moment and a lot of other things like that. But I get your point.
No doubt. I'm not sitting there saying that the man went and I'm not saying he was premeditated. I'm gonna give him that. But what I am gonna say is this: he didn't have no sympathy because he was a black man.
All right, Alan, you made me work. You turned me into Todd Kaczynski for a minute. You made me work.
Tim, you love when I come up here and put you.
It was a good conversation. So that's a shout out to all my MAGA viewers out there who tell me I never see the other side of it. There you go. I temporarily turned into a white man. I got to move it on, Alan.
Hey, but wait till make sure Michael and all them know. Hey, I finally got Tim to sit up here and get that chair and have to. All right, Tim.
This conversation, I'm gonna hold up my what do you call it? Men in Black, they hold up the wand. This conversation never happened. I gotta go. All right, moving on with the program. Turn me into a white man. All right, welcome to the Republican Party, since small spelled. So, because I'm a white guy, I'm now a Republican. Ed G, the forever victim mentality. They could be in Africa. They would still find a reason why they are oppressed or hated. Well, if you're in South Africa, Ed G, I think that would be a legitimate reason. Have you ever heard of ain't gonna play Sun City, apartheid? Apartheid, remember apartheid is really bad. It was really bad in South Africa. So yeah, going to Africa doesn't mean you're going to automatically escape oppression and racism. South Africa is a prime example of that. Looking in the comments real quick, and thank you, AG, for the super chat. Funny, the really racist think CRT makes white people look and feel bad, but the truth is the truth. Well, the truth is the truth, and that is the truth that I don't want to say it makes modern white people look bad, but the people of the time, yeah, they were bad. I mean, when you got people not only picking your crops and shit like that, but you're using underage kids for sexual pleasures. All of that was happening during slavery. Yeah, they do look bad, which is why I do believe a lot of modern day whites don't want that stuff taught. Because look, you ain't got nothing to do with it. It happened 6 or 7 generations ago. It may be in your family, but that ain't you. But I do agree with you, Will G. The truth is the truth. Just let it come out. I think that one of the best ways we could get past racial issues in this country is to just put every damn thing on the table and quit lying about shit. That way we can move on. But when you lie about stuff, the truth keeps coming out in trickles. People still saying the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery and the party switch never happened and the South will rise again is a friendly phrase. As long as you keep saying that shit, it's going to continue to trickle out, and that's what keeps it going. Just tell the truth. It was fucked up during that era. This was racist. That was bad. Just tell the truth about it. People refuse to do that, and so it continues going on and on and on and on. I don't know how to get past it when people won't even be honest about what actually happened. You're just never going to get past it like that. Will G says, think about how many obstacles it took for those black people to get where they are. Did you hear online the story of the black man talking to the old firefighter and how he only saves white people? or how he only saved. I heard some slight rumors about that. Wow. He should go out like the damn CEO of United. I mean, I really hate to say that, but if you're a firefighter and you literally are letting people perish because of their race, I don't want to call for violence, but I don't care if that dude's 90 years old. It is what it is, man. If you brave enough to come out and say something like that, man. All right, look it in the comments. I mean, because like that means you literally let people lose. You literally let people perish just because you didn't like the skin color of that person. Jesus, that's bad. These kids want it out, but they're shamed they can't get past it. Their kids want it out, but they're shame they can't get past it. You know, the crazy thing is, I'll go to the box shortly. Tap the screen, folks. Get the likes up to about 30,000. We can certainly make that happen. Some of you folks are tapping the screen. Thank you. Smash that like button on YouTube as well. Florida is passing a law that prevents children under 16 from having access to the internet. Social media pages. A lot of people favor this. Believe the internet is a bad environment for young kids and they shouldn't be able. I'm torn over it, and it's because of the conversation we're having now. A whole lot of people favor what Florida is doing. A lot of people say they should have been had this. If you're underage, you shouldn't be able to get on the internet by yourself and things like that. I'm torn on it because we're talking about CRT and some of this other shit. Fact is, America's history features teachers telling a whole bunch of lies about history, how this country was founded, what happened to people. Just the way we were taught in schools, it's just, I think we all know now, a large portion of our history lessons in this country were based on American exceptionalism, or in some cases, flat out white supremacy, but it was not based on accuracy. And when we were coming up, the only counter was either a library or an encyclopedia. And oftentimes that stuff was written by the same people who dictated what you learned in schools. So there's nowhere to go really to find the truth. The internet for the current generation exists. But if you make it so that we can limit what books they read in schools, which is something they're also doing in Florida. I'm going to ban books at the same time. I'm also going to ban their access to the internet so that what we teach them is all they have access to. Kind of like how we grew up. You only had access to what your teacher taught you, the library and an encyclopedia, unless your parents or somebody taught you something differently. But that was it. Which is why you could get people to believe whatever you want. They don't have access to any other information. The internet provides us with like for instance, what's going on in Israel right now. If you listen to Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, everything they're doing is in self-defense. That's bullshit. That's not happening. But you can go on the internet and see the point of view from other different ways. What if you got a Jewish teacher and they're teaching the kids that, well, what's going on in Israel? They're having a fight in self-defense. He's Jewish. He likes, he supports Israel. That's his homeland. He's teaching all his kids that the only thing they're doing is committing acts of self-defense. And now that they have no access to the internet, that's all they have to believe. So I'm not a big fan of banning internet access to maybe some sites. We could talk about it, but I really believe that the kids should have access to that because there's a lot of bad information that's being taught in this country and other countries around the world. Anyway, going back to the box, and I brought that up because he mentioned CRT. Continuing on, all my exes are in Texas. Good evening, Texas. Didn't count, man. Stop it. The truth is not in history books. The South wrote the history books. Yikes. Hold on a second. Hold on, Texas. Will G says, I have a bone to pick with you on your show yesterday. You gave Biden a bad economy on a technicality, but you gave Trump a pass for sitting his butt down on Obama's economy. I'd like to know what the what did I give Biden? Okay, you said I gave Biden a bad economy on what technicality? I mean, I'd like to know what that is. Yeah, you got to explain that. Texas, good evening.
How's it going, Tim?
It's going good. What do you think? You've been listening to the show? You've heard what we're talking about?
I guess you're talking about the case up there on the screenshot.
Why are they being viewed so differently by some?
I think it's just, where we're at as a country, we're pretty divided. And, to me, it's like you can't bring politics and things like that into a case. You just got to look at the evidence in a case, and I kind of agreed with your guest before me to an extent. Is the guy was trained. I was expecting to get manslaughter charges because, yeah, you're trained. You know exactly what you're doing. I don't care, heat of the moment, things like that. You went beyond what you were trying to do, and that's what resulted in his death.
So he was facing, and Green Eyed Lady, thank you for the support. He was facing up to 15 years for manslaughter. You really think he should do 15 years, Daniel Penny?
I mean, I don't know that. Like I said, I don't know all the things presented in the case, so I'm not going to say what I feel like he should do. I'm just saying I'm surprised he got off with just the extent of his training and what he did and how he should have known when to stop, and he didn't stop. He's going to, whether he goes to the jail cell or not, he's going to live with that the rest of his life. 15 years, 20 years, however much longer he lives, he's going to walk this earth knowing he took someone's life.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing for anybody if you have,
Not only that, but apparently one of the family members of the deceased actually walked up to him and told him something like, it's a small world or something. Literally made a veiled threat right to him. So yeah, you got to live with all of that for the rest of his life. Probably need to leave town or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna change his life, and like I said, I'm just surprised he got not guilty on manslaughter.
So if you're on the jury, you convict him?
I mean, like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs of the evidence, presented in the case. But from what I do know, yeah, I mean, I would have said, look, you got to pay for what you did. When you step into a position like that and you're trained in those fields, you're assuming total responsibility. It's not just like some, untrained bystander jumping in trying to help someone. You're trained in hand-to-hand combat. You know what you're capable of doing. You took it to that level. You got to own up for that. Everybody.
And it's interesting you would say that because he was interviewed on Fox News, and he said he would do it again. He believed that he was helping the people out. He was playing heroes, Good Samaritan. He said he would do it again.
I mean, and that's the thing I don't know. How long did he hold it? How long did
6 minutes?
You know what I mean?
6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. Yeah. 6 minutes.
That's excessive. You know what I mean? You don't need to hold someone like that for that long. But if you had been doing it for 30 seconds or something, trying to gain control of the situation, get him in a position where you can hold him and it doesn't take his life away, then yeah, I would understand.
But see, the problem when you put somebody in a chokehold is that first they're being combative, so you put them in a chokehold. Once you put them in a chokehold, now they're struggling to breathe, so they seem like they're still being combative. So you're going to hold that on them until they stop being combative. Well, they're dead now. But the problem is your whole purpose was to stop them from being combative. And the minute you put them on a chokehold, they're going to become even more combative than they were before they were in it, because now they're fighting for their life. So I don't. It gets hard to know what point do you let them go, because if your goal is to stop a person from being combative, the only way you're going to succeed is when they pass out.
Right, and when they pass out, that doesn't necessarily mean death if you're doing it right. I mean, I've been chokehold, in training where, to see what it's like. Oh, okay, you got past it. It can happen really freaking quick, So that's what I'm saying. You know what you're capable of doing. You know how to do it correctly. If you're not doing it correctly and the person is struggling with you for 6 minutes, come on, man. You shouldn't have been doing that. You know what I mean? There's other ways to stop someone from being combative that isn't as lethal. And that's where he made the mistake in saying he would do it again. No, you shouldn't do it again. You cost the life of someone instead of preventing someone from getting hurt.
And I'm listening to you describing it, and I'm looking at the picture I have here. And the way his eyes, he almost looks lifeless in the picture I'm looking at. His eyes are open, but it looked like nobody's home. So it looked like I might be looking at a dead guy on the picture I have here. But all right, fair enough. So you do now. What about Ashley? You think her shooting was justified?
I don't know about that one.
You were doing so fucking well. So
Well, tell me about it. We'll talk about it. Look, when it comes to things like this, these things happen across the country more than we know. You know, and when they get amplified up like this, like I said, that's what happens. A lot of politics and things and stuff get put into these cases when they shouldn't be. Look at the facts. Look at what happened.
so then let me ask you the obvious question with Ashley Babbitt. Do you believe the cop that took her life should face any type of criminality or discipline?
Well, I would definitely say that a cop should face discipline for taking a life.
Okay, discipline from the department. What about criminal charges from the courts?
Well, if it's shown that he wasn't justified in his use of force, then yeah, go to the courts
and you don't believe he was justified in shooting her.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about that case.
You don't know anything about the Ashley Babbitt case on January 6th?
No.
No. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll leave it at that.
Insurrectionists, I guess. You know.
Huh?
I said she was one of the insurrectionists.
Yeah, she was.
In
yeah. If you don't know about it, I'm not gonna go too deep. And if you don't know about it, that's surprising you don't know about that, though. Big case. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Texas, appreciate you coming through.
Have a good one, man.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. And by the way, tap the screen. Get us on up to about 35,000. We can make that happen. Her blood is on Trump's hands. Dad, Billy Wop. Well, you know, her parents don't. Her mom don't think that. Her mom is still an ardent Trump supporter and supports what she was doing. But that's a good point because without Trump saying the election was stolen, she would be alive. That would not have happened. Will G, now you're saying that I gave by, you said how the people didn't feel the progress of the economy. I kind of stand by that, Will. I don't think the American people felt the progress of the Biden economy. I mean, I think that Trump, when they polled Americans, who do you trust more on handling the economy? Trump was winning. I mean, yeah, there's some Americans that saw the economy getting better. At the end of the day, gas prices have dropped significantly. But I do believe most Americans have, put it this way, they haven't seen enough change. Yeah, groceries have went down somewhat, but they're nowhere near where they were when Trump was in office. That's how a lot of Americans feel. So, I don't believe, because Biden supporters are saying how great the economy is now. The stock market is doing well. They talk about the Dow Jones and they talk about 401k. Well, the average American that does not have all of that stuff, they're making their decisions based on how much are groceries, how much is gas, how much interest does it cost to buy a used car or a new car or a home. That's what they're judging it on. Everybody don't have a bunch of stock to look at. And for those people, the change is not significant enough. They still believe the Trump years were better. So that's why I said that, Will. Thanks for clarifying that. Tim, do you trust Trump to do the right? Do you trust Trump to do right for all of America? No. But I don't trust Biden to do right for all of America either. Listen, you got haves and have-nots. You can't do right for both of them. America has enough to take care of its people. It doesn't have enough to take care of its greed. So the greedy people don't give a damn about the have-nots. To some degree, the have-nots don't give a damn about the greedy people. You really can only satisfy one or the other. It's as simple as that. If you really look out for the haves, you're gonna really piss off the have-nots. If you really look out for the have-nots, the haves ain't gonna like you. There's no way you're gonna satisfy both of them. Not considering how much of a piece of the pie that the haves want. You're just not gonna be able to satisfy the have-nots when the haves want as much as they want. I mean, you got Elon Musk. I think they just stated today he is the first guy to reach $400 billion. He's still trying to make more money. He still wants more money. He's worth $400 billion. He's still trying to make more money. Just his wealth alone, that one dude, just his wealth alone, when you think of the fact that he actually has, if I gave you a pile of cash that was $1 million Just $1 million, which is more than a lot of Americans going to make the entire working career. Just one pile of cash. He has 4,000 piles of that. One dude. That's a small suburb. He could literally hand $1 million to the whole population of a small suburb. And that's $1 million. Imagine if it was only 500,000 or $250,000. Now you're talking about one dude that could literally he could change the life of, I don't know, hundreds of people, thousands of people. All of that wealth going to one man. And that's just him. We could talk about Jeff Bezos. We could talk about Zuckerberg. We could talk about Bill Gates. It's hard to take care of the have-nots when single individuals are able to hoard that much money. So, and it's hard to take care of both sides on the political spectrum when one side wants that much of the pie. So I don't think you can take care of everybody. Now with that going on, Trump messed up the economy with his incompetence to COVID-19. The response from MAGA, we don't know how to deal with COVID-19, but we also didn't know about Ebola and H1N1 flu, but Obama took care of it. I look, you get no disagreement from me on that. Trump's handling of COVID was dismal, in my opinion. Trump was focused on running for re-election. He wanted to run on a strong economy. That was his baby, the strong economy. That was going to be his primary signature accomplishment to run on. And when COVID hit, he didn't want to have to shut everything down because that was going to take away the main thing he was running on. So he's trying to listen to the FDA and the CDC when they're saying you got to shut things down and you got to social distance. But at the same time, he's also trying to manage a strong economy. And he's giving out these mixed messages like that. Well, you should shut everything down, but I'm going to leave it up to the states to decide and all these weird. So, and that is why even today, Trump supporters still have that mixed message. Their view on how to manage and how to address and how to accept COVID is still as mixed as it was when Trump came out of it, because his messaging from day one was so mixed on that. So, I think Trump did a terrible job on COVID. I mean, you're on TV with Dr. Fauci, even though you clearly don't think he knows what he's talking about. Then why are you on TV with him? His messaging was terrible on COVID. So I agree with that part. Well, let me go to the comments. He used it like he used immigration at the expense of innocent people. Talking about fear mongering, huh? Wow. Going back to the box, we'll continue it on with Randy. Good evening, Randy. Welcome to the program. Hey, good evening. You see the two examples up on the screen. Why they treat us so differently?
Say that again.
You see the two examples on the screen?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what you're looking at. You know what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you think those are viewed so differently? They both were being unruly. Neither one of them touched anybody. Neither one of them were armed. They both lost their life in the process. Yet people view Jordan Neely as, look, he fucked around and found out. It's kind of his fault why he lost his life. But people are very sympathetic to Ashley Babbitt and suggesting that she should not have been touched at all. Why are they viewed so differently?
Well, he choked out a black man.
Okay. What do you mean?
I mean, if that would have been a white guy on the subway, they wouldn't have been. They just would have said, "Hey, he was threatening everybody. He was going to threatening to kill everybody, and blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me clarify that. People who view that the black guy being choked out kind of is responsible for his own demise. The people who believe that he deserved, or I won't say deserve, but people who believe he is responsible for his own loss of life do not believe that about Ashley Babbitt. Why is that?
Well, because Ashley Babbitt was a decorated war veteran.
That ain't got nothing to do with what she was doing, though.
I don't agree with what she was doing, but I don't think she should have been shot. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to the guy that shot her.
Do you believe him shooting her, he should have been criminally charged?
Absolutely.
What would you charge him with?
Murder.
Mm. So with her climbing through a window and encroaching on where he was cowering, what do you think he should have did? She's bust the window out. He's in the room. He's put furniture up against the door. She done broke the window out and is about to climb over the furniture. What should he do?
Well, I mean, it's a touchy situation. There was just like in the subways, a lot of emotions.
Yeah, but
Running
I know the emotions are running high, but what I'm saying is she's breaking in a room where you don't cower and you don't put furniture up against the door. She's breaking through that to climb in there. What should he do?
Well, he could have just as easily walked up there and pushed her back out the window instead of pointing a gun at her and running at her and shoot her in the throat.
So he should go hands on with her, not knowing if she's armed or anything.
Well, he's right there. He can see her. She's right there on him.
That doesn't mean that just because you can see a person, you can see me. Do you know if I'm armed or not?
Why didn't he shoot a warning shot?
Do you know departments that train cops to fire warning shots?
Well, I mean, it's what's wrong with our country today. The whole thing. Both scenarios are exactly what's wrong with our country today. We just can't see eye to eye.
Well, I get all that, but to me, suggesting that a cop fire a warning, you ever hear the liberals that don't know a lot about guns talking about shoot somebody in the leg? Like, you can't, how hard, you don't fire warning shots. I don't know any police department that promotes that. You don't fire warning shots.
Well, he could have tased her.
So she's.
What's the difference in tasing her or pulling a guy over that's a black guy over on the side of the road, and he's got a gun and they tase him or they shoot him? I mean, if a police officer pulls you over, that is legally an arrest. You're being arrested.
No, you're being detained. You're being detained. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And nobody has any respect for that anymore, and so they just they do whatever they want to do. They do the First Amendment.
Is that not what she was doing too? She had no respect for police and was doing what she wanted. Was she not doing the same thing?
Well, I mean, the news is so unclear, and all you have, and all I have is information that's coming from the news about all that.
Randy, Randy, you actually have the video of her doing it.
Right.
So where's the lack of clarity coming from? You actually have a video of her climbing over, attempting to climb over furniture they have barricaded themselves in a room with.
So we also have a video of Penny taking control of the guy that was threatening to kill everybody, telling everybody in the subway that somebody's going to die today. He don't care if he goes to jail. I don't care. I know I'm going to go to jail. I don't care. Somebody in here is going to die today, though. Instead, the news media portrays him as a Michael Jackson impersonator, and you know what I'm saying. It's time for us to grow up. We gotta grow up and face reality of.
So what about the notion that maybe both of them are responsible for their own demise?
Well, I mean, here's the way I see it, Tim, and you know how much I love you. I really love you a lot.
That sounds scary. That usually means there's a but keep going.
Well, if any of us, if I go out tonight and I get confronted by the law, and I live in Texas, the law's tough here, very tough, and I get pulled over, I don't care. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm old.
Okay.
But I don't throw my head out the window and go, "What the hell are y'all doing pulling my ass over because I'm white? You pulled me over because I'm white?"
Well, you do realize there is a significant history of people in this country getting pulled over simply because they are black, right? You do realize that is based on something that actually has happened.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Right.
And also, listen to this. What really irritates me about all that is that, and it doesn't have anything to do with me being white, because I have dark tinted windows. Nobody can see my windows, see through my windows to tell if I'm black or white. But I drive a nice car. And by me driving a nice car, I could drive. Sometimes I forget that my tags are out. You know what I'm saying? I forget that my tags are out of my car.
So you're
and I drove around one time for a whole year, and nobody ever pulled me over.
I'm smelling privilege, man. It smells like privilege in here.
No, I'm just telling you. Nobody can see through my windows. They don't know if I'm black or white. But if they see some guy driving around in my neighborhood in an old car,
Can't they? Now, I'm ignorant on this. Maybe you can help me out. But you know, the police have those little computers in the middle of their car. Can't they punch your plates in and quickly see? Once they punch your plates in, they can tell you're a white guy, can't they?
No, they can only tell whether that vehicle is who it's registered to.
Right, and they can't bring up a picture of your driver's license from that car.
No, that I don't know.
I mean, your name. I mean, you know, you don't exactly look like Leroy. I mean, your name might tell them. There's a lot of ways to know. Your address might tell them you live in this zip code. Ain't no Negroes over there. I mean, there's a lot of ways for people to tell you ain't black. I don't need just your picture.
Listen to this. I heard a story the other day from where I live that the police department won't run radar in a black neighborhood for speeding because they know if they issue the citations that the probability of them coming in and pay them is a lot less than if they run it in a fancier part of the of the town.
Wow.
Where people get pulled over and they will come and they know they'll pay them. So they run radar in those areas more than they do. So, I mean, it's a whole system of confusion.
You know, a lot of that stuff, and I don't think that's right. You shouldn't let it, people of color get away with speed and shit. But unfortunately, a lot of that stuff is based on bad history, such as in Ferguson, for instance, when they found out that they were genuinely pulling over and stopping only people of color to raise revenue off of them. So a lot of that is we don't want to come across as doing what other cops have done in the past that has been getting away with. I really believe that, just like what I mentioned about racism, if you told the truth, if police did a much better job of simply policing their own and not sweeping bad cops under the rug, the relationship between African Americans and cops would not be anywhere near as bad as it is. But for years, decades, generations, the police department, when they knew they genuinely had a bad cop, circled the wagons and protected that bad cop. Told everybody, you're making it up, we see nothing, we say nothing. Because the police code is almost exactly like it is in the hood. Snitches get stitches, in certain areas, the mob or whatever, you can't be a rat or you face violence. The police code is almost the same damn thing as that. If you go and tell on a fellow officer and all of your other brothers see you doing it, you're going to have a hard time working in that department. You may need backup and it may not show up. They are just as punitive as people in the hood or people in the crime world are towards snitches. And that has been horrible in terms of their reparation with people of color. That's all they had to do. Get rid of the bad elements in your department and quit defending them. And that would have been all they needed to do. But they for literally for generations, they've refused to do that.
I always tell you, and I'm going to tell you again, I've never told you this before. I've been on here before. I've never told you this, but I was raised nearly my whole life as a young man into my teens, into 17, 18 years old. I was raised by a black family. And I can't tell you the gentleman's name, but he was a big inspiration on me. And I loved him with all my heart. I couldn't have loved him anymore. But in the beginning of actually living with them, it was odd to me because when I was very, very young, 6 or 7 years old, when I first went to live with this family, it was strange to me.
What was strange?
Well, the black and the white. I knew I was white and they were black. Mm-hmm. And it was just odd to me. And then the gentleman that raised me, he was an incredible human being. I love him, and he's passed away now, but I loved him with all my heart. And one night, I was about 16 years old, and I asked him, "What's the difference between a black man and a white man?" And he took my hand, and he held my hand out, and he took his pocket knife out, and he cut my hand, and he turned his hand upside like this. And he cut his hand.
Damn, he couldn't have told you that shit. He actually had to cut you. He couldn't have told you we bleed red.
He cut my hand, and he cut his own hand, and he said, "Look, we both bleed the same." And
God damn, you couldn't have just told me that shit. You actually got to cut me. Oh my God.
So that's why I always express to you, and I'll express to you again, that you're such a smart man. I follow you wherever you go. I watch you in different lives.
Thank you.
I watched you today earlier in another.
Oh, that was interesting. Appreciate you tuning in. I love going to my MAGA lives. I'm taking on 5-on-1 and all that. I like going in there. They, look, they go at me, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
And I hope that, you take your intelligence. I hope that you take your power, your strength, the gift that God gave you of intelligence, and use it to help undivide the black people from the white people and try to heal. We can't heal.
Wasn't I actually doing that when I voted for Kamala Harris? I gotta move it on, man.
You're smarter than that.
All right. Oh, well, she lost, so we'll be dealing with Trump in 5 weeks. I gotta move it on, Randy.
Did you see Trump today at the stock market?
Yeah, he rang the bell. He rang the bell.
I mean, it was crazy, right?
Hey, even Melania Trump looking pretty good. That money really got us smiling. I gotta go. Appreciate it. Randy, thank you. Same. Looking in the comments, I'm MAGA, and I would have blew her wig back to his head. Gee, damn, man. So he's saying that even though he's MAGA, Ashley Babbitt would have got a projectile. He would have took her out. Listen, and certainly thank you, Ed, for the support. I definitely believe that if you see the death of Jordan Neely as fuck around and find out and you're defending Ashley Babbitt, yeah, a lot of that has to do with her being MAGA. I mean, the actions she committed there that day, you're literally breaking into a location and a guy has a gun aimed at you and you're not listening to it. Like what my last caller was talking about, you get pulled over doing a traffic stop and you're yelling out all kinds of shit at the cops. That can lead to a bad outcome. Well, if a cop is actually aiming a gun at you and you're not listening, that damn sure can lead to a bad outcome. And that's what Ashley Babbitt was looking. She's literally looking down the barrel of a gun and not listening to anything the officer is saying or indicating. I mean, he's aiming because you hear the people in the video say somebody's got a gun and she's still trying to climb through the window. But yet, bringing race into it, but yet we chastise African Americans when they're encountering police for why they didn't comply. She's doing everything but complying, and somehow, some way, the cop should have stood down and gave warning shots and all this other shit. I know. So some of that don't sound right. I'm just gonna say that. Let me look in the comments. Will G says, talk about how black people how to de-blackify their home to get a high appraisal to sell it. I have seen that, and that's horrible. And like I said, I had a close encounter to that myself, where I was part of a class action suit because when I was purchasing properties in Chicago, Fifth Third Bank gave me a higher interest rate simply because I was black. I'm not making it up. I didn't know they did it. I got a letter from a law firm that I was one of the individuals they did that to. One of them. It's hundreds of us. If you're being African American, they gave us a higher interest rate simply because, when you take out a mortgage, they get your ID and all that. They knew I was a black man. I thought I was doing great. I thought I had a great loan. I certainly wasn't crying out about racism during that era. I had plenty of money and all that shit. I didn't know. I get a letter in the mail. You want to be part of this? You were also victimized by it. Fifth Third Bank did it, and Toyota Financial also in the early 2000s did that, deliberately giving higher interest rates to black people. That ain't 200 years ago. That's not in the 1960s. That's in our lifetime while we were adults. That happened in the 2000s. Now, the problem with that is that's obviously not a cop beating your ass or you're not going to jail for a long time in prison. What that affects is generational wealth. That affects the wealth in the black community because If I'm a white guy, I'm buying those same properties, less interest. The mortgage on those properties is less, which means I can buy more properties faster because I got more money left. But if I'm a black guy, for some reason, I'm not moving as fast as the white version of me. And the only reason is because I'm black, because the banks is mistreating me. Happened to me personally. So I just want to say some of this shit, it ended hundreds of years ago. You need to move on. You're playing victim. That ain't playing victim. That actually happened to me. And I mean, I don't know how much money, I don't know how long they have been doing that. So I don't know how many payments I made at a higher interest rate than I should have done. But like I said, that happened to me. So I'm not talking about something that happened to my ancestors or some shit. That actually happened to me. Looking in the comments, Babbitt was living her white privilege. Well, I don't know if she had white privilege because they shot her. So I don't know about that. She may have thought she had it. She might have been more of an entitled white girl, but she didn't get privilege. They shot her. Or he shot her. And oddly enough, Trump calls that cop that shot Ashley Babbitt. He called him a thug. He actually said that about the cop at a rally. Trump called the cop that shot Ashley Babbitt a thug. Wow. He remember back to blue. He's pro-police to say something like that. Looking in the comments, how can you move on from mental things? It takes some effort. It does take some effort, Alicia. Callie Love says, we'll stop talking about racism when it goes away. Until then, keep bringing awareness. Unfortunately, it's never going to go away. You can put two people on an island together, and they're going to find a reason not to like each other. It's certainly going to happen when you're talking about millions of people. I think people need to stop being afraid of the race conversation. It's the only way to find common ground and understanding. This would really elevate DEI too. Big shit. I agree with that 100%. Thank you for the super chat. I agree 100%, but unfortunately, there's people who believe that talking about racism makes them look bad, is embarrassing to them. Can you imagine Muslim parents showing up at a city council meeting demanding we not talk about 9/11 because it makes their kids look bad? We'd kick them out of school. What the hell? It happened. Muslim mom, well, I don't want you guys talking about September 11th because it makes my kid feel bad. What? But that is kind of why a lot of our history has been hidden, is because some people feel like it makes their side look bad. Balzim, is that what I'm looking at? I think that's the name of that. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Pronounce that name.
It's Baller is me.
Baller is me. Okay. All right. Good evening. So what you've been listening in, I take it. Why are these cases being viewed differently?
I listen to you all the time, man.
Thank you.
It's been over a year since I got on, but
good to have you in this evening.
I look at it as a cultural difference.
Explain.
And what I mean by that is, black folks know a lot about white culture, well, whiteness, but white folks don't know a lot about black culture. Because see, I grew up in Detroit. I now live in Birmingham, Alabama. And I have seen a lot of crazy folks saying what they're going to do in the streets, on buses, and all that other kind of stuff. All we do is say, that so-and-so is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Wait, but hold on though. I've been, growing up in the city of Chicago, I've seen plenty of people get on the bus, barely wearing clothes, no shoes. I haven't had somebody tell me they're going to kill me, though. This guy apparently was telling people he was going to kill them.
I didn't see a lot of that. I'm 65 years old, Tim. Mm-hmm. I didn't see a lot of it, where people would come in and they would just start just saying whatever they want to say. And all of us would say, as long as he don't touch nobody, we ain't going to do nothing to him. And if he did touch somebody, what we would do was, we would touch him a little bit. We would touch him enough that he would think about the next time he do something like that.
So what are you saying? When you started out by saying white people don't know black people's culture, are you saying that's maybe why Daniel Penny acted the way?
I'm saying, how can I say this? It's a lot of mental illness out in the streets now.
True.
It's a lot of mental illness out in the street. And it's a lot of mental illness in the black neighborhood. So I have seen a lot of it. And I know how to kind of deal with it to a certain extent. But you got somebody that's from another culture that don't know how to deal with it.
Okay.
And they already got a perception of black folks are dangerous.
That's I often have conversations where MAGA will tell me, the media made Trump look bad, or the liberal media often. That's a great point you're bringing up about black folks and that. Because I say this all the time. I say this to MAGA when they talk about the liberal media and the fake media and all this shit. The media fucked up blacks' image, the image of black people far before they mess with Republicans. All of that, black people are violent. The media has done a really bad job in portraying the image of African Americans. They put the people on that can barely speak English. They put on nothing but African Americans involved in violence. Like, I watch a lot of Fox News. You'll never see a class of graduating black people and have them interview the valedictorian or something. They want to talk about the people who may have dropped out of college, and are out murdering people. So I do agree with you 100% when you say how the media can do this stuff from image wise, and I really believe the image of African Americans, the media has done a really bad job with us, to the point where people do think we are inherently violent.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say that I don't know his name, but I'm not gonna say he did that on purpose. I just felt that he felt like, I got to do something now because this man is threatening us, and he probably wouldn't have did nothing. He probably was just all talk. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, in the neighborhood, if they did do something to somebody, we put some hands on them. But
would you have given him a manslaughter charge? You think he deserves 15 years behind bars for that choke? Max 15?
I'm gonna be honest with you. They say he was a
Marine
or something. He was trained.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a story. Me and my old lady was playing one time. My son was in the house, and she grabbed me and she choked me. She probably only choked me for about 3 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds. Mm-hmm. She choked me out.
Damn.
Playing.
Damn.
I actually passed out, and I did not know it until I woke up about 3 or 4 seconds later, and I said, "Girl, you choked me out. Why you playing like that?" And he's trained. If he held that man for 6 minutes, he know better than hold that man for 6 minutes. If my old lady can choke me out in 3 or 4 seconds, and I wasn't struggling with it. I just let her do what she was doing, because we were playing. We was supposed to be playing.
I ain't never played with some broad that made me unconscious. That's a hell of a game y'all got going there. Shit, that sounds like y'all in the lifestyle, man.
It was just all jokes and fun. My son was over for the holiday, and we was all in there, and I was talking my mess, and she was talking her mess, and she grabbed me, and she didn't realize what she was doing, but he realized what he was doing.
Manslaughter?
For 6 minutes.
You on the jury? You giving him manslaughter?
I wouldn't give him manslaughter.
Negligent homicide?
I would give him something like that.
He facing a max of 4 years. He would have been facing for that negligent homicide charge he beat on Monday. If you're on the jury and they've convicted him of negligent homicide, and you got to recommend sentencing, and you got to up to a max of 4 years, what you throwing him behind for?
To be honest with you, I would have gave him something, man. I would have gave him probation, something. He couldn't have walked clean. He couldn't have walked clean.
Felony on his record? Negligent homicide felony on his record? Would you put that there too?
As a black man, yeah.
You fucking him up with that. He ain't gonna get no job nowhere. You got negligent homicide on your record? What is he, like 20-something, 30-something?
They done messed up a lot of black folks putting felonies.
What are you doing? What is this? What do you walk out of court saying, for my ancestors, we got his ass? What do you bring?
Now, look, to be honest with you, man, I don't know, but he deserves something, man.
And because
he knew better.
And I see JoJo said even with that felony, he could run for president. God.
No, but he knew better. He knew better.
Yeah.
He knew better, man. You choking a person out for 6 minutes as a trained soldier, for a fact, if you choke him out for 6 minutes, you're gonna kill him.
Yeah, I suppose there's some validity. I don't know, man. I'm on a jury. I don't think the guy. I think it was an accident. I don't think prison time is a solution for this. I mean, maybe he gets some kind of
I said
probation where,
probation.
huh?
Give him 10 years of probation. Give him 5 years of probation.
I don't want to affect. I don't believe the man should have a hard time getting a job and all of that because of this. I really believe it was an accident. I just do.
I believe it was I can't say it because he was trained, man. Like I said, I've been choked out before.
Yeah, you just told me
I'm
that.
gonna tell you, it's gonna take a long time to be choked out.
Yeah.
It do not take a long time.
Man, when I see Timothy Lee says I'm a felon for driving a car without a license. How many times you do that? It takes a long time to become a felon for simply driving without a license. You must have tried to run in the motherfucker. It takes a while. You don't just get pulled over with no license to become a felon. You did a lot more than that. But Ashley Babbitt, what do you think in that case, Ball is me? Do you see that as justified?
Justified as hell.
All right.
And the reason why I say that is because you got our lawmakers in that room.
That is true.
They barricaded that door.
Yeah.
I was watching it that day at my store, and I heard them say, "He got a gun. He got a gun."
Yeah.
Now, if you attempt to go in and you done already heard that, either you going to do something wrong, or you looking to get what you got coming to you. Now, that officer, I don't know if he was Secret Service or whatever. They don't issue him a table leg to protect himself.
I don't disagree.
Because see, if I'd had a table leg, it didn't make no difference. She would have went out either way because it would have been all over the room. It would have been all over the room.
All right, baller.
Wait a minute. They issued him a firearm to protect them people in there.
True.
That's his job.
That's
what
true.
he get paid for, to protect them people.
Now
you got what? How many people you got coming through that hallway? I mean, I don't know. I say hundreds. It was thousands out there, but I say hundreds coming through that hallway.
Yeah.
And then
easily.
After they vacated that room, what was they caught running around with? Zip ties.
Yeah.
What was they planning on doing with these zip ties? Come on,
they might have been. They might have been planning on putting Nancy Pelosi on trial right in that house.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. What was they planning on doing? Come on now, let's be for real now. I mean, I believe in justice. No, that man shouldn't be charged with nothing because he was just doing his job. Just like when the attempt on Trump's life, when they took that man out on the roof, them folks was just doing their job. That's all they was doing.
Well said. Ball is me.
Take care, man. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, try to look for me because I look for you I watch you every day, man. I be having something to say sometimes, but sometimes it don't get out right, man. Like I said, I ain't got that intellect like all of y'all, but I still got something to say.
I think you did just well. I got you covered like a blanket. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good conversation. All right, moving on. Will G stated that Trump, what does it says? Trump said it was going to be hard. Yeah, he did say this. He says Trump said today that it was going to be hard to bring prices down now. He says Trump ain't shit. I think he did. He said something because Trump also said recently during the Meet the Press interview, he said that I can't guarantee anything, which obviously doesn't sound like the confidence he had during the rallies. But he did say something to the effect of, he said, prices may or may not come down, but he still kind of made it sound like he's going to accomplish what he promised. We'll see. I'm just going to say we'll see. I've been meaning with the help of Dencal, I think he might be in the comments, but I've been meaning to write down a list of all of Trump's promises. So I want to come on here. We can do it about once a quarter, about once every 3 months or so, and just have a discussion on how close Trump is to meet, because he made a lot of promises during the campaign. We'll talk about them and just simply see how close he is to accomplishing them and the likelihood of him accomplishing them. I mean, I'm going to have to really sit down because he made a lot of promises. So We'll be talking about it. The Marine will be just as mad as the dude he exed when the Department of what is it? The Department of something efficiency, Doge, when the Doge billionaires are cutting VA healthcare and benefits. Do you guys think they're gonna actually do that? I know that's been floating around that the Trump administration is gonna cut VA healthcare and benefits. If you cut the healthcare, I mean that's a huge benefit that veterans get is healthcare, whatever quality it is. But you guys think they're gonna actually do that? Cut VA healthcare and their benefits? I mean, it's already difficult to get people to want to serve nowadays. You gonna actually reduce the incentives they're getting even more? I see in the comments, EJ Nemo says no, they're not going to do that, but there are a lot of people that believe that. So yeah, Trump needs to get ahead of that. Biden should declare martial law for what? Didn't work very well in South Korea, by the way. Maybe off topic, but do you think Biden will pardon Pelosi and friends? Yes, Tim Rogers, I do believe there's going to be, he pardoned 1,500 people today. They won't tell you exactly who. I want to know because, Trump, I did more for black people since Abraham Lincoln. I like to know how many black people that Biden pardoned. I was just talking about that, I think either yesterday or the day before, that I believe that Biden is trying to make amends for being intolerant in the past. I think that any white guy that's Biden's age, because it was just the norm in this country to look down on people of color. I do believe on his way out, he is trying to make amends, whether it's, helping Obama become president, appointing the first black woman to vice president, appointing the first black woman to the Supreme Court. He's done a lot for African Americans all of a sudden, to the point where people are saying that you are helping out black people so damn much, they don't even have the qualifications for all these jobs you're giving them. I disagree with that, but they said that about Ketanji Brown, the Supreme Court justice. They said it about, obviously, Kamala Harris. They've said that about all of his African-American picks. And now he's pardoning motherfuckers. I really do believe Biden is going to go out and he gonna pardon a bunch of black people. I just believe he's gonna do that. I believe he's trying to make amends. I mean, he is a devout Christian, and I mean, he gotta assume the pearly gates is coming soon. I believe he's trying to go out right. I would not be surprised if he does some historic pardoning for people of color. We'll see. I might be wrong, but I believe he's going to do something wow. Looking in the comments, I see Love the Crew says good for him. And I don't know what I just hit there. Mr. Oko 74 says, I love it. Yeah, I believe he may do that. I personally believe, remember, he's the guy who sponsored the crime bill. The right has been hammering him with vote for me or you ain't black. And he's the author of the crime bill that put so many black people in. This is a great way to make amends for that. If you're going to blame me for putting a bunch of black people in jail, I'm going to go out by getting a bunch of them out. He could pardon people that are in. He could pardon people that are already out but still have it on their record. I mean, if let's just be for real. He will get some criticism, but let's just be for real. If Trump can pardon the J6 protesters, I think he can pardon a few weed smokers. I don't see any problem with that. If Trump can pardon a few folks that were protesting on January 6th, I think he can pardon a few weed smokers. We'll see how it goes. But I do believe he's going to go out like that. Looking in the comments, Daniel Penny didn't learn the full Nelson, one arm at least. I didn't learn it either, big shit, so I can't speak on it. Real quick before we continue on with the program, I don't know what I just hit there. I'll go back to the box. Thank you guys that are tapping the screen. Can we get to 50? 50? F-I-D-D-Y? 50,000? I don't know. Let me see here. We'll continue on with one of my subs there. Mike. Good evening, Mike. Under Kamala Harris, we would be a socialist country. Under every liberal, they said we'll be socialist. When Obama got elected, he was going to turn us into socialist Greece. At the time, Greece's economy was failing. Obama was going to turn us into socialists. When Hillary Clinton ran, they were saying she was a socialist. Kamala Harris, and then all of a sudden when they start talking about Trump as mustache man or he's some kind of fascist, well, you can't call him that. You're calling every damn liberal that comes down the pipe a socialist. Mike, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much at all. You see what's on the monitor behind me, right?
Yeah, I'm listening to all this nonsense. Yep. Hey, a couple of things. So let's start with Daniel Perry.
Sure, Penny. Perry is the other killer that got pardoned.
Yeah, exactly. We get all these unalivers mixed up.
Yeah.
Here's why he should have been sentenced. Two very direct reasons. Tim, you couldn't wrestle with your kids and not know when they stop moving, Tim.
Damn.
Come on, Tim. You couldn't wrestle. You couldn't you couldn't wrestle with your kids and not know when they stop moving completely. That's number one. Number two, there were people holding that man's legs down. Yeah. Right? People were watching. They saw what you saw. Nobody was like, hey. What would most people do? Hey, man. Yeah, okay, you got him. I mean, hell, what are you gonna do?
It has the people standing by saying stuff like that has a lot of similarity to George Floyd because they were saying the same thing in George Floyd's case. Like, dude, you got him. He's been under long enough.
Damn, where's he going? Yeah. So just from that, and in 6 minutes, he stopped moving long before that. That's ridiculous, man. So listen, and if you don't know that, then there's a consequence for that. You can't choke nobody for 6 minutes and not understand that they might not be alive after that, Tim. That's ridiculous.
Would you give him manslaughter?
Yeah, I would have gave him more than that. You cannot excuse the fact that 6 minutes, Tim. It's not like now. Here's the thing: if he would have jumped on him, grabbed him around the neck when he fell, he broke his neck. That happened. Okay, and I'm not even excusing that, but that would have been something that happened instantaneously. That happened. That's just freaking common sense, man. But to hold somebody for 6 minutes, Tim, you know how long 6 minutes? We've been through this. We saw it with George Floyd. 6 minutes is a lot of time.
I don't know. The issue I have, though, and I don't know why the hell somebody is. Apparently somebody don't like what we're talking about, but I don't. The thing about I know the man was trying to be a good Samaritan. Do you really think he was actually trying to take the guy's life?
I can't speak to what he was thinking. I'm just going about his reaction. I can't speak to when he was doing that. But I do. I tell you this. I do find it interesting that after it happened, he said he'd do it again.
Well, but he's talking about he would try to save, an innocent person's life again. I think he's making it clear he wasn't trying to take somebody's life.
Well, he wasn't saving an innocent person's life, Tim, because nobody's life was directly in danger, Tim. And again,
how do you know?
Well, you watched the video.
Bro, he threatened to kill people, and this guy grabs him. How do you know if this guy didn't grab him, he wouldn't physically hurt somebody?
Well, no, you're right. We don't know.
So you said nobody's life was in danger. How do you know?
Well, we don't know if anybody's life was in danger to that extent, but it doesn't appear that way. But even if that's the case, 6 minutes. There's nothing you can say, Tim, to justify that. Period.
Well, other than maybe
and the people around him, to me, in my opinion, the people around him, the guy that was holding his legs and looking around, nobody saw that this guy was choked out. Nobody. Yeah. It's terrible because, and then he walks out of a courtroom. It just continues to give white team men and this privileged license to unalive us without any repercussion. It's just sad. Because here's the thing. As that verdict came out, that's not a big deal. And I told you this before, but then we tokenized Lake and Riley and demonized an entire group of people for that. But the minute you say that about this, you kind of,
Well, I definitely will agree with you 100% that Lincoln Riley was used to demonize the entire immigration culture. I mean, I don't have any. That's pure fear mongering. I don't have anything else to say about that. That was just fear mongering.
It's always been fear mongering. It's always been fear mongering. It's not new. It's always been fear mongering. Minorities have always been made to be the enemy, no matter what. And if we go over to Ashley,
hold on before you complete that thought. Time on my side on YouTube. He says 6 minutes under adrenaline feels like 10 seconds. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
You don't think so? I don't know.
No, it doesn't. Tim, listen, we got to stop making these. You said it earlier. We don't want to talk about. We don't talk about race for what it is. We don't want to 6 minutes, right? It's like that's a long time. That's 6 minutes.
That is a
6
long
minutes
time
for no one else to help. It don't feel like 10 damn seconds, man.
That is,
and it's a false equivalency between Ashley and this because you're talking about a weapon.
What weapon?
And not having a physical weapon. Talking about Ashley in this situation, you really can't compare the two.
Ashley Babbitt was not armed either, though.
That's what I'm saying. But see, here's the thing: she had already crossed the threshold of no return when they went in there. Because once you go in there in that situation, anything would have happened. I would have felt the same way no matter who it was. But I really get pissed off about it because she lost her life behind a lie. That's why, and I told you that the first time we talked.
That's
I was
true.
more pissed because she lost her life behind a lie because the people that sent them there on that mission knew it was BS from the beginning. That's the sad part.
I don't think. You mean the Trump administration knew it was BS?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I do.
I agree with that. I think that people like Giuliani and Steve Bannon. Well, Steve Bannon admitted on tape that if Trump is not winning on election night, he's just going to say he won. So he said that October 31st, 2020. So he knew 5 days ahead of time. If we losing, he gonna just say he winning anyway. So yeah, the people who spoke on January 6th, I do feel like you're correct. They knew he had lost.
And all those people went there thinking they were fighting some noble for some noble reason, and they thought that they were justified based on the rhetoric, and this is what happened. And that's the sad part, because just like somebody else said, she was a mother, she was a mom, and all those things, and they just would have been honest. That never happens.
Well, even Ashley Babbitt's own mom is she's appeared on Fox since Ashley Babbitt's death. She's still MAGA. Her mom is.
And you know what? But you said it earlier in this call, and you need to say it more and stop placating to your MAGA people.
Placating? Don't be big words. What? How am I placating?
I'm going to tell you.
Let me get my thesaurus out. Go ahead.
You said it earlier, but you kind of just talked over it. You said a lot of MAGA.
Hold on 1 second. I always point out interesting comments. When I said that, the late Ashley Babbitt's mom is still MAGA, Debo says she should join her. Damn.
Yeah, that's...
Damn.
I have no comment about that, man.
Damn, her mom should join her. Oh, my God. Go ahead.
When I said placating, you brought up the January 6th hearings, and you said MAGA just didn't watch it, right? They didn't watch it.
That is true.
Right? They didn't watch it. And so by not watching it, you didn't even think to take in anything that made. That just
they had their mind. That's like with every charge, every negative thing about Trump. Their mind is already made up. It's all a lie. So there's nothing you can do. If somebody like I've said often on the program, let's just say for shits and giggles, Trump actually did commit a major crime. For MAGA, the question, who could tell you and you would actually believe him? You don't trust the people who would tell you, like the FBI and the Security Intelligence Agency. If you don't trust him, if he is saying I'm innocent, and you don't trust anybody that would be responsible for telling you he committed the crime, then to some degree he is immune. You don't believe he could do wrong. You're not going to take unless it's on video and you trust the media that's presenting the video to you and the media personnel that's telling you, which is a hell of a hurdle to climb. He really is in a position where he can do no wrong.
If they don't, of course, and they know that because he knows his followers aren't. They're just listening to him. They're not digging into any detail. Even someone in the comments said, "This is crazy." CEO of Common Sense, which is really an oxymoron with a picture of Trump. But he says, "Where's the evidence from the J6 committee?" Right? Where now, Tim? I want you to answer this for him. I'm not going to answer it because I know the answer. He says, "Where is the evidence from the J6 committee?"
Evidence of what?
Of the insurrection and all that stuff, right? It's just asking where's the evidence tells me that you know nothing and have looked at nothing. Yeah. That's what the House committee was for. That's why your leader right now, CEO of Common Sense, is saying all of those people that looked at all of that evidence should go to prison.
Yeah. But
they had to look at something. They had to look at something, CEO of Common Sense, for him to even be bothered by it. So yes, there was plenty of evidence, and all you had to do was go read a little bit, and you would have saw it all. You would have saw that he knew that they lost from the beginning. He admitted it. They all knew it. Every last one of them, from him, Giuliani, Eastman, all of them knew from the beginning. And so when you say that, it tells me you haven't done any research, because these are affidavits.
Yeah.
These
And like
are
I
emails,
see,
these are text messages.
yeah, like CH1970 is saying, it's all over YouTube. It's pretty easy to find.
It's everywhere,
Yeah,
man.
it's pretty easy to find
And
that.
here's the thing, Tim. When I'm only saying this for, and this is the part that they have to understand. And when I say they, I mean Trump supporters. Coming from me personally, this is not about being right or wrong. It's just about the right thing. It's there. All you got to do is look. If you would have looked and saw the J6 committee evidence on what happened and just read through it, you could come to your own conclusions. But if you never even know it exists, how can you?
Well, the problem is, even if you read through the evidence, if you do not trust the credibility or integrity of the person presenting the evidence is useless. And there's nothing Nancy Pelosi or Liz Cheney or any of the Capitol Police can tell you on that day that MAGA are going to believe. So there's no way to present a case to them. They're not going to trust any of the sources of it.
So you mean the party of law and order? You mean the party of law and order in this country doesn't want to listen to law and order? They don't want to listen to the police that were there. They don't want to listen to none of them. Really? Is that what we're saying? And another thing that came up earlier when you brought up the one retired fireman that said that he was only going
that's
to
terrible, man.
Right?
Yeah, Will G mentioned that. That's terrible.
Well, check this out. So fast forward to J6. How many were there? How many firefighters? How many off-duty police officers? How many law enforcement officers were there supporting Trump in that insurrection on J6?
Probably most of them were supporters of Trump.
Yeah, there were a lot. There were a lot that went through those windows and doors. And it's just sad. I'm talking about some of the Capitol Police, I believe, were MAGA, but you're saying I'm talking
you're
about
saying protesters that may have come from other cities that were off duty, but they were cops and firefighters.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
They 100% were.
Lots of them.
There were
Lots
some
of
that
them
were arrested and lost their jobs,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, lots of them.
And all I'm thinking when that's happened, I'm like, you risk your entire pension. So now it goes back to that one retired fireman that said that. Because he's not by himself, Tim.
Yeah,
that one guy is not by himself.
That's sad. I don't even, like I said, when Will mentioned that, I don't even like thinking about that. Did you actually let somebody lose their life in a fire simply because they black? I mean, to actually come out and admit that person, that's a case where if whoever he told that to, if they off them right on the spot, I ain't seen shit.
Hey, well, let them lose their lives or take a life. Choose one, because it happens all the time with us. And when we're told to get over it, it's just amazing to me, because the slogan of 9/11 is never forget. Yeah. So we can remember everyone else's tragedies. We can remember everyone else's history. But when we start talking about our history, when we start talking about the things that have shaped this country, take it out of the schools. We don't want to talk about it as if it never happened. And if we let that happen, you're only 2 generations removed from it being erased.
I agree.
And so what I mean by that is, so I'm clear, whatever you tell, you have daughters, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you tell your daughters about their grandparents, right, wrong, or indifferent, they repeat it to their children. What right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what it is now. That's the new history.
Word of mouth.
So it's very important to tell it so we don't repeat it. If white, and see, when they bring up, all this other nonsense.
I don't know if my caller had a call or something. Mike?
We cannot, sorry about that. We cannot, black folks cannot end racism. White folks, that's their job.
I don't believe. I believe blacks can help in that process as well.
We can't, Tim.
Okay.
No,
we disagree on that. We disagree on that. But I do believe the best way to help end it is to tell the truth about it, and that is mostly coming from whites about being dishonest about history, because they do control all the history books and things like that. So I do believe if you want to move us ahead, move us on, and unify and all of that, you got to tell the truth about what happened.
You got to keep it. And here's the thing: that doesn't mean it's comfortable.
No, it's not going to be comfortable.
It shouldn't be comfortable, because if we're trying to make a change, that should be the case, and we got to stop picking and choosing what we want to address.
And
we got to stop picking and choosing about what's going on. So
yeah, and unfortunately, we have not reached that point yet. I got to move it on, but yeah, until we reach that point, I agree with you. The healing is only going to be limited because the people know that there is more out there, and you're not being honest about it.
Yep,
Mike,
we got to fix it, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I 100% agree with that. 100%. Like I said, I talk about this all the time. Civil War had nothing to do with slavery, or the party switch didn't happen, or the Confederate flags about pride and heritage. Too many people know the truth. Too many people know that stuff is not true. So I mean, you're literally telling when people are saying that kind of stuff, you're literally telling people, just like when, okay, here's a good example, because I'm gonna say this from my MAGA side of the aisle. Let's say when you see these mass shoplifting events where people are stealing and shit like that, and all of a sudden some far left person tries to make up some kind of sweetheart explanation for what they're doing when really it's just, shoplifting. You stealing shit, but people try to say, well, it's sympathetic. They're just doing it to eat or whatever. He's stealing Coach purses. He ain't trying to feed his family, and they make up all these bullshit excuses. That's how racism kind of is like that. Just making up bullshit excuses when just get the truth out there. People know, just like with the example I use of stealing, you're lying to people's face and they know you're lying. Well, it's the same thing with this. You're telling, you tell people the flag is about pride and heritage, and the Civil War is about, it wasn't about slavery. The people you're telling that to, they know that's not true. So it just makes this shit go on and on and on and on. The party switch never happened, for instance. All of that stuff. People know that stuff ain't true. Real quick before I move on, I want to go back to make sure I didn't miss a super chat there. MAGA says, what is this? MAGA says, keep your legs closed when it comes to ABs, obviously, pregnancy terminations. MAGAs are the same people that approves drunks and grapers. Get the fuck out of here. So you're saying that they demand responsibility, but at the same time, they're appointing drunks and grapists to their cabinet. There is some of that happening. No, there's no denying of that. I read an article for somebody in Washington. It was a Democrat, though, female Democrat. She said that the only reason Trump is appointing Hegseth to head the military is because he looks good on TV. I mean, he's a decent fit guy. He got the fucker, damn near fuck around and found out, or America fuck yeah type tattoos all over him. So Trump is saying he looks the part on TV. I don't know if that's true, but I thought it was kind of funny. Oh, excuse me. Trump employed the swamp in his cabinet, says Brett Maca. Well, even MAGA believes that Trump. I mean, they believe that Mike Pence is a swamp creature, or you don't favor Nikki Haley. I think even MAGA believes that some of the Trump appointees are equivalent to swamp creatures or rhinos. They're even saying that. Repeat a lie until it becomes the truth, says Charles Vaughn. That does happen. That absolutely does happen. Continuing on with the program, we'll go to Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. You might be able to help clear this up, Dencal. How the hell are these two events being viewed so differently? Good evening.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I believe, like you've brought up an interesting conversation, and I believe it might bear a little fruit, even if the people won't say it out loud. But having these two examples, when we kind of know what they are, and people are, they consistently get on here and they show their unconscious bias, and they say it as if it's fact. Like, yeah, well, the guy gets up here talking about he shouldn't have pew-pewed from the side.
He was serious about that. That's MAGA reaction.
That's why I can't even fathom why somebody would say. This is the same people that would say, "Hey, I live in Florida, and we got the what is it, the no retreat law? What is it? The
stay your ground, yeah."
That says if somebody is coming at you, you have the right to use any level of force you want to. But those people that support that are saying that they keep on singling her out, making it seem like it's just one lady that came and bust the window and came through the door without 1,000 people behind her.
Yeah.
He said when she came there, he could have tased her or something. Dude, it was 1,000 people literally behind her, screaming, trying to come in there.
Yeah, MAGA reaction. Yeah, I see somebody said MAGA reaction should be called Mr. Pretzel from now on. Yeah, I mean, he was trying. I'm surprised I haven't heard from a couple of my other MAGA viewers on that. But yeah, he was trying. But yeah, it's crazy to think you expect this guy to tase her, and like you said, there's literally hundreds of people that's gonna come in there behind her, and he's standing there with a taser in his hand with prongs hanging out of it. They're gonna just beat him over the head with the damn thing. I don't understand, as you point out, and as one of my viewers talked about how blacks don't, they don't comply when the police pull them over and all of that. But she was doing anything but complying, and they're so sympathetic toward her. I don't understand it.
One good thing to ask yourself in this situation: had he cowered in the corner and let her and 100 people come in there, and they would have got hold of 10 of the senators or whatever and did something to him, what do you think they would have said about that guy then?
Wait, say that again. If he had cowered in the corner and what?
He had cowered in the corner, and he just let her, and then 100 other people came through there. They got
dereliction of duty.
Yeah. They would have got hold of all of them senators and hit them with them zip ties and put them on display for the whole world to see. And then we would have found out this guy was cowered in the corner.
Yeah. It would have looked bad to his superiors, and MAGA would have made all kinds of jokes about how much of a pussy he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he was in a no-win situation. So he did what his training said to do. He was by himself in a place that he was I don't know if he was designated by somebody else or he designated himself that he was going to protect that entrance.
Did you see the video of the African American cop that was running up the steps? He had like an asp or a billy club thing. He also could have popped. Because they were chasing him up the steps.
He could have let loose on them, and a lot of people at the time were saying, "Well, why is he letting them? Why is he letting them?" So these cops were in no-win situations.
Right.
I think both of them did the best, with what they had to work with. This guy was by himself. He was guarding this place where they said it was right down the hall from actually where the senators were at. So it wasn't like they was at the front door, which it would have been harder to get to the what do they call it, the tundra or wherever.
Right.
Wherever
the rotunda. Yeah.
Yeah. So if in his mind, I have to put myself in his situation. He had to be thinking, if I let these people through, and he got the walkie-talkie, he's hearing them saying, "Oh my God, we've been overrun. They're taking over. They're coming in this door. We got to fall back." He's probably saying to himself, "I'm about to do my damn job, and I'm about to protect and serve. And if anybody come through that window, they about to catch one." And he was justified.
Yeah, and I've said that earlier in the live that I don't care if it's a bank robber or if it's a cop. If somebody is pointing a pistol at you and they're yelling instructions at you, if you don't follow those instructions, there's a really good chance you're going to get shot. I mean, it's as simple as that. Ashley Babbitt was looking at the fact that this guy had a gun in his hand, and she was totally ignoring that. That's fuck around and find out. I mean, that's like literally the definition of fuck around and find out. Somebody is aiming a gun at you, telling you to do shit, and you're ignoring that.
And this is something that, look, people think that black people want more rights and more more equality than anybody else. But I'm just saying, look, if that's gonna be the standard, make it the standard for everybody. Don't make Ashley Babbitt the exception to the "you just need to comply" standard. Don't make her the exception. I don't want to see anybody die. But if you trying to tell me that somebody is going to go into a federal building, going to storm it, and they're not going to be held to the same standard as I am when I'm in my car, from a police officer, bro, if you're not going to listen, you need to get it just like I would get it.
He gets no argument for me on that. I want to respond to a super chat before we continue. Another bone to pick with me. And when you say whites won't get replaced anytime soon as a majority, but why is it that why? But anyways, he says, okay, I do say that. But that is why whites are doing their Project 2025 bullshit now, so it doesn't happen at all. Do you think Project 2025 is to counteract the notion of replacement theory?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's part of it. They want to take it back to a Christian, the traditional. I don't know the exact words, but you know what they talk about. They
Yeah,
want
I mean,
to
the
go
crazy
back
thing
to a
is,
time.
it must be Hispanics because black people only represent like 13% of the population. They're in no danger of blacks overtaking whites. It's not only way that's gonna
It's
happen
not
is
a
if
black thing.
only way that's gonna
It's not
happen
a
is
black
if
thing.
you only way that's gonna happen is if you stop giving us access to your daughters. But other than that, we're not gonna overtake the population.
Right. It's more about what they call the browning of America. It's
Yeah.
not, people confuse it and think that black people are, black people are going to take over the majority. That's not what it is. It's talking about the white population compared to all the other minority or brown populations put together. That's considered the
So
browning
is
of
it
America.
possible then if you're focused on counteracting replacement theory, you want to, I guess, to some degree, keep America white. Is it possible that interracial marriage might get banned then because they don't consider biracial people to be white?
No, I think there may be some people on the fringe that think like that, but I think that ship has failed. I think they're going to, their attempt to slow down the browning of America is based mostly now in getting the Hispanic people
Yeah.
out of here.
Well, they are the
And that's what
second.
slowed down.
They are the second biggest group, so they are the closest
Right.
competition.
Right. And we've been at 13% for about 30, 40 years
Yeah.
now. And so we're kind of holding steady. The Hispanics are the ones that are threatening them. But now, we've seen through the rhetoric and everything that's been said, now they've got them kind of on their side. The Hispanic people want to assimilate to the white side instead of to the minority side.
Yeah. Now, listen to this, though. Now, time on my side says I'm multiracial, yet there hasn't been one person that would call me black. Now, is that normal?
Well, it would depend on what their features are, what they look like. There are a lot of races that are considered white passing. Hey, look at Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Like they gave away their Hispanic name to assimilate.
He said they gave it away. George Zimmerman, I guess it does happen. Yeah, it does happen. He gave it away.
Nikki Haley. If you see Nikki Haley walking down the street, you say that was a white woman.
I don't know about Nikki Haley. I don't know.
She's passing.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. She could probably pass as a white woman. Yeah. But she ran for president. They made sure you knew she wasn't white. She became Nimrata overnight. She all of a sudden she lost all that Nikki Haley shit. She was Nimrata. So
and they didn't see nothing wrong with that, with the former administration bringing up everybody's damn heritage when it came time to achieve some great things.
They even started doing it to Vivek Ramaswamy, who was a fan favorite of MAGA. When he was running for president, Trump said he ain't MAGA, and his heritage started coming up too. Like shit, you can't run as a person of color. If I ran, I would be born in Ghana. Damn.
Yeah, boy, with the AI, you come out with a bone in your nose.
Oh yeah, I would be looking like the 1980s wrestler Kamala with the bone on his. Shit, you lose all your purity.
The guy in the subway, as being former military, like I was never into like special forces training and all of that stuff, but in the minimal amount of training you get, you understand like the chokehold is for a specific reason. You know what I'm saying? It's either you want to finish them or you're using it. What you're really not supposed to use it if it's just to subdue somebody.
Right.
But 6 minutes, if you set a timer right now and we sat here for 6 minutes,
that's a long time. It is,
like,
yeah.
Damn.
It is a long time. Even though I believe it was an accident, we're having these conversations. 6 minutes is a long fucking time to have somebody subdued, especially if they're not fighting back. I mean, to have I guess I'd have to be there because based on what I've seen so far and things like that, I'd have a hard time giving this guy a manslaughter charge. But talking to some of you motherfuckers, I don't know. I'm starting to change. This is what happens this is what happens in the jury room.
It may not. I don't know. Look, because we've had this discussion before, and I said, look, he need to get something, and that something is like a kind of a gray area. But I say at least attempt to do great bodily harm. I mean, that's going to probably get you about 2 to 5, and I say 18 months in jail for taking somebody's life. I think
Here's my take on it. Here's my take. Even regardless, whatever they give him behind bars, which I'm hesitant, but if they give him some time behind bars, I do not believe this event should still be hurting him for the rest of his life. So, okay, once he does his time, I want a small amount of probation upon release, and I don't want a felony on his record for 10, 15 years. That's where I look, because I do believe most of it was an accident. Yeah, he may have went overboard with it. I get it. If you just gotta give him some time or whatever, I do believe eventually this should fall off his record. I don't want, because the guy's walking around with either manslaughter or a negligent homicide on his record. He ain't gonna be able to get a job or any damn thing.
Listen, we got, how many black felons we got walking around right now that got felons on their record?
Negligent homicide, though, didn't count?
Well, no, not negligent homicide. I'm saying, like I said, intent to do great bodily harm. There are degrees lesser than negligent homicide.
Okay. Well, that's what they charged him with.
We also got people that's running around that got, attempted unaliving.
Yeah, but it's hard, man. It's real hard to get.
They got a list of jobs you can get that honor felons and it's hard.
They honor. There are companies that will hire felons, but even the companies that hire felons, there are certain felonies. I mean, it's the difference if you got a intent, possession with intent to distribute versus murder on your rap. The felon, it depends on the type of felony. Some of them companies that'll hire felons are not looking to hire murderers or child molesters. It depends on what the felony is.
Yeah. I know because I'm self-aware, and I know that some of that might be my unconscious bias by saying all of the foul stuff that happened to me, my friends, people around the country as a black man, and we don't get the same indifference.
I can't argue with that.
We don't get the same indifference. So when we saying, man, he should deserve a second chance, man, he should. Do you know how many families, how many generations have been destroyed over the rules and laws that we have to abide by? And we got to say it when we get to a point where we can verbalize this stuff. We got to say, yeah, we should have the same type of empathy and understanding when they make mistakes in life.
What did Michelle Obama say when they go low?
Hey, it's good in theory. It's good in theory.
What about what about this one? And this is Forever CT. This is kind of comical, but he says at least try to tap out. So that Jordan Neely should have tried to tap out when he was getting choked.
I seen another one of the people in here say, look, even the MMA. Even the MMA know to tap you out because you could get unalive.
Yeah,
they do it simply on a tap.
Yeah. The referee, even if he didn't tap out, the referee would have noticed he was unconscious and dragged him off of him. Yeah, he would have separated him. All right, I can't disagree. Appreciate it, then, Cal. You know what I got to do.
All right, man.
Good talk. Care. Always a pleasure. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, folks. Get your boy on up to about 60,000. Hell, the incoming president has felonies. Yeah, he does. And my guess is by the time Trump leaves office, them felonies are going to be gone. Now that Trump has won re-election, I'm not sure that Letitia James or E. Jean Carroll going to get their money. I mean, the man got too much power. And you got half of the country that believes that you should not be held accountable for anything to some degree. I'd be curious to see if E. Jean Carroll or Letitia James get any of that money. I'd be real curious to see that because MAGA don't believe any of that stuff happened. He didn't sexually assault nobody. Who cares if he evaluated and devaluated properties? That was a witch hunt. I mean, my guess is they may have a hard time getting any of their money. We'll see though. MMA is pro, and a ref has to stop it because again, adrenaline. Huh. Now, well, I think even in an MMA match though, if the referee is sleeping on I've seen, in fact, because he's saying that mixed martial arts or like the UFC, that's all professional, and even in that case, the referee has to stop the chokeholds because the adrenaline of the fighter would also lead them to have somebody in a chokehold for 6 minutes. I don't know if I totally agree with that because I have actually seen fighters notify the referee, dude is out. If you got a referee that's slipping on the job, because the fighters don't want to kill each other either. I've actually seen fighters stop doing things that the referee would have allowed them to do because they knew this fighter is no longer in it, dude. You need to call. I got to hold him, but you need to call this. He ain't awake no more. I've actually seen fighters do that, so I don't know about that one. Time is on my side. It's always on us to unify everyone, but everyone else can do bad all by themselves. That's what my last caller was saying. I hate to, I don't want to agree with that, but I have to agree with that. It is sometimes like that. It really is. I mean, that's kind of what Martin Luther King critics were saying. The likes of Malcolm X and some of those folks were saying that, why should we be nonviolent? We're actually protesting and addressing violent treatment. That's why Malcolm X was like, fix this by any means necessary. All this turn the other cheek shit. They're sicking dogs and stuff on us. They're killing and hanging people. Why should we be known? So some people do have that mindset. I do see what you said, Will G. You said Project 2025, it'll be majority Hispanic. I agree with that. I would not want to be a Hispanic over the next 4 years, legal or illegal. Especially if you really look Hispanic, I would not want to be one of those in the next 4 years. I would certainly be trying to head north. I would be looking to go to liberal cities where at least some people are going to be somewhat defensive of your position. Like, for instance, stopping and frisking people and demanding paperwork, even if it's an American. The liberal cities going to fight against that. But if you're in the South, hey, we just trying to secure the border. Yeah, you got stopped. You ain't hurt. I mean, you gonna get shit like that. Yeah, you got stopped. You ain't hurt. He just trying to do his job. So if I'm Hispanic and I really look Hispanic, yeah, I'm trying to head north. I'm trying to head to one of those cities where at least the mayor gives a damn about my rights. So I'm not a fan of that one. You were lying about liberal cities being against that. New York was stopping. Liberal city. Yeah, that was happening under Giuliani though. When stop and frisk was in New York, no reply. It wasn't a liberal city. Rudolph Giuliani was doing that shit. So you're saying I was lying about liberal cities being against stop and frisk? No, the liberal mayors are not fans of stop and frisk. Rudolph Giuliani was the mayor of New York when they were doing that. It wasn't a liberal city at that time. It will be, and like you said, Charles Vaughn says they voted for stop and frisk in New York. Yeah, they voted for Rudolph Giuliani. That wasn't a liberal city back then. That city was leaning right. I mean, that's how Rudolph Giuliani won. We are not hearing that teaching of Martin Luther King Jr. judged by content of character, not the color of skin. Why every other word, black, white, Hispanic, practice what you preach. We are not hearing that teaching of Martin. No, I don't think we ever adhered to that. I don't think there's ever been a time in this country where people were judged by the content of their character as opposed to the color of skin. I think even if you let's say you're applying for a gig, I think we all can agree that certain names can cost you a job. I always use the name LaQuisha, for instance. That's a bad name to have on a resume. It just is. Certainly if you're applying for a job in a diverse environment or an environment that is not really, doesn't really feature minorities. Certain names, it's not going, not to say you can't get the job, because I mean, obviously Barack Obama became president with that name, but it's just, it's not in your best interest to have a non-English sounding name. You can still succeed without it. I'm not saying it is a complete hindrance. But yeah, if you just have a regular name like Ron or Kevin, it definitely is better than having, an Afrocentric or a cultural sounding name. There are people out there that don't like that. Now, I see in the comments, Delta says no. No, it's not. It's really not true. I mean, it really isn't. You don't, like I said, LaQuisha on a resume. There are places that alone will start the judgment going out towards you, even though you don't have a damn thing to do with why your mom picked that name. Nothing to do with that at all. That is something that happened before you were born. But it can hurt you. It can hurt you. Republicans, George Pataki was governor with Mayor Rudolph. Rudy, that's how you know Republican politics was bullshit in New York. Yeah, it was a Republican state. That's the point. Yeah, I agree with you, Will. It wasn't liberal back then. Liberal states and cities pay for red states, cities and towns. MAGA need to say thank you. They're not going to say that, though. But you are correct. The federal dollars tend to come from areas where the people are. I mean, if you want to have federal coffers, you need human beings to contribute to it. That's where your federal tax dollars go. Well, most of that money is coming from where the people are located, which is liberal cities. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like Alabama and Mississippi and all of them states on the Gulf, with maybe the exception of Florida and Texas. Them other states, when they have hurricanes and natural disasters, they don't have enough money to take care of their people. That's why the people in those states are dirt poor. In fact, most of the poverty in America is in red states. You hear about crime in liberal cities. Poverty is in Republican states. Poverty is in red states. I have Trump OT something on my tree. You have Trump something kind of some mints. I don't know what that's saying there. Let me continue on with the program though. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Hoping it gets to 60,000. Hoping it gets to 60,000. Maybe not this time. Anyhow, folks, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to step away for a minute. I will go ahead and express my appreciation for the 54,000 I got. I couldn't get folks today. Maybe a lot of lazy thumbs on the program today. So we'll go ahead and suspend it for now. But thank you for tuning in. I will catch you guys tomorrow. By the way, if you enjoy this type of dialogue, subscribe to the program on YouTube, horizontal, vertical, and follow on TikTok. Until then, folks, I will catch you tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Gotta go. Thank you on YouTube as well. Catch you.